Newland. In their 3 conference wins, the margin of victory for Colorado in each has been 2. For Kansas, you throw out Nebraska, but in the 4 other conference games they have played, they have been in a position to win the game in the 4th quarter. Now, you add a dash of homecoming, a little bit of wind, and is that the ingredients for an upset? And that's the question I posed my broadcast partner, Artie Gigantino. If I was Rick Neuheisel, I'd be a little nervous tonight.
Oh, I would too, and you throw a little bit of luck into that formula also. But the key ingredient tonight for Kansas is the play of their quarterback, Zach Wagner. He's only 3-10 as a starter here at Kansas, but when he's on, he's on. He's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde of college football. On the other side of the field is Mike Machete. He's Mr. Wonderful. He's 6-1 right now as a college football starter. He's a gritty little guy that can make things happen. His strength is his ability to get out of trouble and leadership. And leadership is exactly what he shows this Colorado offense.
Now, one team has trouble running the football. The other team has trouble stopping the run. Something's got to give tonight.
Well, bad numbers for both. The Colorado offense is one of the worst in the nation in terms of rushing the football. On the other side of the coin, Kansas is one of the worst at stopping the run. Marlon Barnes is back tonight, their tailback. He's the guy that can make this running game from the University of Colorado go. He's the guy they've been missing the last couple of weeks. If he's healthy and he's on, look for Colorado to have a good game running the football.
Well, specialty teams in field position could be a major factor tonight. Last week against Texas Tech, Nick Peach of Colorado kept the Red Raiders backed up. Can Kansas's Matt Tyler do the same to the Buffs? The battle of the kickers and the kickoff coming up straight ahead.
If you start with Shelter Insurance when you're young, you can get car insurance with protection you want for a lifetime. And when you need insurance for your first home, talk to us first, because we'll be there when you need us. And when you make additions to your family, we'll make sure you have the life insurance you need to protect them. Shelter Insurance. We'll always be there for you.
So, you thought you knew everything about the Sicilian, huh? Well, I got news for you. Now it's in a whole nother league. This is the Supreme Sicilian. This is Ken Griffey giving a baseball a facial. This is enough basil, oregano, and garlic in the crust to drop your carcass to the canvas. This is enough topping to draw a flag for piling on. This is the Supreme Sicilian Pizza. Just $8.99. But hurry through, this deal is going to be going. Gone. Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof.
For delivery in Metro Denver, call 751-1111.
Now turn to the Rocky Mountain News for our special sports and entertainment package. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 6 months of the news for only $9.95. 6 months of entertainment, books, movies, plays, travel, concerts, bars, and restaurants. And 6 months of the best sports coverage in town. High school, college, and pro. Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. The sports and entertainment package. Delivered to your home 4 days a week for only $9.95. The Rocky Mountain News. Call 1-800-892-NEWS.
Who can you count on for big savings? Your Toyota dealer. Want to save like never before? Check out these big savings on Tacoma. Right now, you can get $1,000 cash back on rugged new Tacomas. 4x4s, 4x2s, regular cabs, extra cabs. Take your pick and make your best deal. That $1,000 is yours. Save it, spend it, use it for your down payment. Whatever you do, don't miss this event. See your Greater Denver Toyota dealer today.
Coach, if they build a new stadium, what about pay-per-view?
It'll never happen. Broncos will always be on free TV. Next.
How can we build a new stadium without raising taxes?
Coors Field is getting paid off early, so we can use the balance of the money to build a new stadium. Next question.
Hey, Coach, is this for football only?
It'll be used for a lot of things. Soccer, concerts, high school events, and even a proposed museum. With a new stadium, we all win. But you have to vote yes on 4A to make it happen.
What is that? What? God, come on, you idiot!
Into the penalty box, and he's not happy about it.
Peter Forsberg and the Avalanche look to tame the Coyotes. Coyotes Ave, Monday at 6:30 on Fox Sports Rocky Mountain. Home teams, Fox Attitude. You're watching Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
Kansas, you're watching college football Saturday on Fox Sports Net. cheerleaders haven't had much to cheer about against Colorado here in Lawrence, as Kansas hasn't beaten Colorado here in Lawrence since 1981. For those of you who saw the Conference USA game just a few moments ago, congratulations to Jeff Bauer and Southern Miss. Big win over East Carolina, the final in that game once again, 41-7. Both teams have players with some big play capabilities. Eric Clemens has more on that.
Okay, Ron, Coach Rick Neuheisel got a twinkle in his eye when he met with us last night and talked about his junior wide receiver, Marcus Stiggers, in his second week since returning from a broken bone in that right wrist. Now, he's going to play without the massive splint that's been on that wrist the last couple of weeks, and he has big play potential. He averages over 20 yards a catch so far this year, and of the Colorado 13 longest plays from scrimmage, his name is next to 4 of them, including a 59-yard catch last week. So Coach Rick Neuheisel hopes he gets some big playability from his wide receiver, the speedster, Marcus Stiggers. We'll keep track on him later today. Guys?
Thank you, Eric. Let's take a look at Artie's scouting report for Colorado.
Well, the first thing that's got to happen, the University of Colorado corners have got to do a great job on coverage tonight on the wideouts from Kansas. They've got to be more consistent in the running game. They've got to get 150 yards. But maybe the most important thing is number 3. When they get inside the 20 in the so-called red zone, they've got to come away with touchdowns and not field goals. This has been a weak spot for Colorado.
How about Kansas?
Well, on the other side, the Zach attack has got to move. Zach Wegner's got to have a great night, period. He's got to complete some deep passes. The defense from Kansas has got to keep quarterback Mike Machete in the pocket behind the line. And then lastly, they got to do a great job of covering kicks and protect the punter.
Colorado won the toss. They deferred. Terry Allen was hoping to go on defense first, but instead he is going to have to go on offense. And for the Kansas offense, Zach Wegner had some problems last week versus Nebraska. Just 8 of 25 throwing the football. Terry Allen hopes he comes out with a hot hand this evening, and he'll be playing behind an offensive line that features Dan Dircher at left tackle. He protects the backside of Wagner from the Colorado defensive end, Fred Jones. That's a major matchup. And at wide receiver, Michael Chandler, the leading receiver last season, replacing the injured Harrison Hill at the split end spot. Jermaine Fulton, Gasaway, Winbush, the lone setback. Gasaway and Fulton to the left side, and Winbush will try the right side of that Colorado defense. And he gets the first down of the ball game against that Colorado defense, number 7 in the NCAA in total defense, despite all the injuries. And their line is going to be led by that man you just saw a moment ago, Fred Jones. He is an impact player. Had a great game versus Texas Tech last week. And at the linebacker spot, young Ja'Shawn Sykes getting his first start. And in the secondary, it is Marcus Washington at free safety. His natural position, playing for the injured Rashidi Barnes. 1st and 10 for the Jayhawks on their own 32-yard line. They keep it on the ground with Winbush again. And right away, we see the ability of David Winbush, Artie. He's got a low center of gravity, and just because the hole opens up, that doesn't mean he's going to go there.
No, he's a scat back, so to speak. But the one thing tonight with Kansas that they are going to be missing, not only along with Winbush, but they've got a 1-2 combination in Mitch Bowles, the senior, who is not playing tonight. Bowles and Winbush are a great combination, but I think the trick is going to be see how David Winbush holds up being the guy the whole game tonight.
Norris and Winbush in the backfield. It is Winbush. Try on the right side again, and another run for the Kansas Jayhawks. Aaron Marshall makes this stop. And this is interesting because Terry Allen told us yesterday that they didn't feel they could run the football like Colorado.
You should never believe coaches. You know that, Ryan. But what you want to do if you're Terry Allen here is slow the game down. And by giving this guy the football as much as possible, as early as possible, I think you slow the tempo of this game down.
Kansas is 35% on 3rd down conversion attempts. This is a 3rd and 6. Wagner will put it up for the first time. Pass is incomplete. Nate Wright was on the coverage, got a piece of it. And Kansas will be forced to punt after picking up just 1 first down on their initial drive.
When Kansas throws the football tonight, you're going to see quick passes, because what you don't want to do if you're Kansas, and Zach Wegner doesn't want to be in the pocket too long to allow Colorado's defense to blitz him.
Matt Tyler will be kicking into a brisk wind. Ben Kelly set to receive it, standing at about his own 24-yard line. A very short kick that Kelly will probably just let bounce. Kelly making sure everybody gets away from it, and Colorado will take over. 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line. And the quarterback for Colorado once again is a man that Rick Neuheisel has dubbed Paper Machete. Shoulder injury, ankle injury, rib injuries haven't stopped Machete. He has taken some shots, especially last week against Monte Rager of Texas Tech, but he just keeps on playing. The line is led by Ben Nichols, the 24-year-old. They call him the Godfather at right guard. First game back after missing the last two with a sprained ankle, and the running back, as already mentioned, Marlon Barnes will start. Didn't play against Kansas State. Had only one carry versus Texas Tech last week. And Machete's going to put it out in the flat, and the pass is complete. Darren Cheverini, the senior, with the reception. Cheverini, the blue-collar receiver of this ball club, has made some clutch receptions this year so far. The Kansas defense, 108 versus the run. Deion Rayford, the junior college transfer, will be starting at the right defensive end spot, getting more comfortable as the year goes on. Steve Bratton, an inside linebacker. He didn't play last week versus Nebraska, as did Mohamed Abdul-Rahim, who is also back this week, and he'll be manning that cornerback spot. Pickup of 9 on the play, 2nd down and 1. And the Jayhawk defense this time stuck in Marlon Barnes, the senior out of Memphis, Tennessee. Deion Johnson on the stop.
You know, in defense of the statistics of this Kansas defense, last week against Nebraska, they started 2 inside linebackers that were freshmen, because J.J. Jr. also didn't play, along with Bratton. So look for Kansas to be a lot more solid, a lot more fired up, and a lot more stringent in terms of giving away yards tonight against Colorado, because they played a lot of young people last week.
After a loss of 1, 3rd down and 2. Machete, 5-step drop. Cheverini has it, and the first down as he steps out of bounds at his own 45-yard line. Pickup of about 7 on the play. The numbers on Cheverini this year.
Well, he's the go-to guy, like you said. He's steady Eddie. He averages about 13 yards per catch. But he's the guy that Mike Machete wants to go to in the clutch. And as we've dubbed them, and Dave Platty, the sports information director, has told us, it's the Italian connection between Machete and between Cheverini.
With that reception, Cheverini goes over 1,000 yards in his career in receiving. Andy Peak is the fullback. Machete going upstairs again. He's going for it all, looking for Stingers. Just out of his reach. We have heard this whole week on how Rick Neuheisel said, I've got to play conservative football because of the talent I've got.
But one thing you want to do, you want to try to strike early. And the one area that's been criticized on the University of Colorado team is the offensive line. They've been injured, but right there, they do a wonderful job of giving Machete some protection. But you know what? If I was the receiver coach, if I was Carl Durrell, the receiver coach, I'd get on Stingers. I thought he stopped a little bit too soon because he didn't feel he could get to the football. He might have been able to catch that.
I think you're right. They're throwing with the wind. 2nd down and 10. Machete again. Pass is complete to Daniel Graham. Graham makes it up to the 50. That is only his 2nd reception of the year. The redshirt freshman out of Denver, Colorado. Interesting short passes, and that is something that we saw a couple of weeks ago against Kansas State. Simplifying things.
Well, it's simple. It's a 3-step drop here. He gets rid of the ball quicker, which doesn't allow your offensive line to have to hold on to their blocks for a long period of time. Now, that's the thing we were talking about, you were talking about. Machete gets hit quite a bit, but he's a tough guy. He gets back up each and every time.
3rd down and 4. Machete rolls out, passes complete to Hollowell. And he will get the first down. And that is something you will see Colorado do more of, is getting Machete out of the pocket, because he is not a very big guy, and it helps him see his receivers.
Well, he's best at throwing on the run, and he's best at throwing on the perimeter. You're going to see him here. It's just a sprint out to his right. He sees his receiver, and all he does is deliver the ball on him. That was perfect throw and perfect catch. Now, this is Steve Bratton, the inside linebacker, coming on a blitz. Good eyes. He's looking around, seeing where Machete is, but Machete's out on the perimeter.
After the pickup of 8, another first down for the Buffaloes, and they'll keep it on the ground. Marlon Barnes on the carry, running behind that makeshift line. They alternate guards. They have had so many injuries. This is their 7th offensive line in 8 games. This is their 8th different starting offensive lineup for the Buffs.
And you throw into the fact that they've had 4 different tailbacks. And you look at the linemen of Colorado. The key guy tonight is right here, Kane Cullum. It's his first start. Ben Nichols is back in the lineup, his 5th start. But the key guy that's got to play good tonight is Kane Cullum.
2nd down and 10. The left side of the line, Barnes banging his way down to the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 5 on the play. That'll set up a 3rd down and 5 situation. Colorado on the air, just a shade over 36%.
One of the things the Kansas defensive coaches felt they could do tonight was to line up more in a 4-man line instead of a 3-man line because they felt that would put more pressure on Kane Cullum. So the defensive staff, Ardell Weegat, Dick Mosley, and the whole group said, hey, we're going to play a little bit more of a 4-man line tonight.
Machete has some time. Pass is tipped. Intercepted by Kansas. Jamie Harris has some running room and tripped up as he crosses the 40. Patrick Brown tipped it. Harris with the pick. His first interception of the year.
Give the credit to number 47, Patrick Brown over here. Now watch Brown up here. He's up here. He's going to drop into the flat there, and he's going to end up tipping the football. Machete's going to get on the corner. He's going to throw it outside. Excuse me, Brown is right here. He's going to tip it, gets up in the air. Harris sees it, catches the tip, and is off to the races. That was almost a touchdown that time by the Kansas defense.
Yeah, Kansas said they wanted to convert more turnovers. Haven't been doing a whole lot of it. Wegner is going to go for it. On 1st down, they're fighting for it at the 10. Incomplete. Penalty flag is thrown. I'll tell you what, Artie, look to us up here. You could flip a coin. Is it offensive or defensive pass interference?
Well, a whole lot of pushing and a whole lot of shoving going on.
Sounds like an Elvis song.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Okay.
But you got 2 good athletes going up, competing for the football.
Referee Tom Ehlers talking it over with his staff. He'll judge Mike Weatherford, and it will go against Colorado. Colorado had only 2 penalties last week versus Texas Tech.
On the defense, 15 yards from the previous spot. You're going to see good competition right here. Now, Ben Kelly does a good job of going up on Fulton, but he gets tangled up. And that's what happens when the ball is underthrown. The defensive back is at a disadvantage. Kelly's a guy who's about 5'10". He turns around, he doesn't see the ball, and he ends up getting tangled up with Fulton. Sometimes that works when you underthrow it, but sometimes it doesn't. That time it did work because it caused interference.
We saw Ben Kelly last week against Donnie Hart at Texas Tech had his problems. They're going right after him tonight. Winbush bounces to the outside, and that is what he does best. Couldn't get away from the Colorado defense, the black shirts. Fred Jones on the stop. The junior out of San Diego, California, Jayshon Sykes also in on the tackle.
And Jayshon Sykes is going to be a future star in the Big 12. He's a true freshman out of Sarah High School in Los Angeles. He has taken over this Sam position. Albus Brooks, the starter at the beginning of the year, is out for a few weeks.
From the shotgun again, Norris and Winbush in the backfield. Patterson wide to the right. Penalty flag is thrown. People are moving on that offensive line of Kansas. Look like the left side, either Dircher or Hunt.
Dead ball, prior to the snap, ball start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat the down. Well, it looked like big old Dan Dircher moved. Now, he's a guy who used to play defense. Now, watch Dircher right over here. He's looking, but somebody on the defense moves, and he's going to get started a little bit too soon.
Kansas, the least penalized team in the Big 12.
Dircher's a good athlete. I like moving defensive linemen to the offensive line because those are the type of guys you want from an athletic ability standpoint playing in the offensive line for you.
Fulton running around. Little play action. Wegner has some time, now being flushed out of the pocket. And he will be dropped. Only only the 15th sack allowed by that Kansas offensive side. That's the 21st sack of the year for Colorado. Hannibal Davies made the stop.
Now that looked a little bit like a covered sack because you're going to see big old Jason Gully, the tight end, release here. Now, he looks open to me, but Wegner cannot get him the football because of the pressure by the front of the Colorado defense. Now, Gully's a big old guy. He looks like a tackler. He's got a tattoo, but he was still open. And I'll tell you, this Kansas offense misses Brian Gray, their normal tight end at the beginning of the year, who's more of a wide receiver playing tight end.
On 3rd and 23, again play action. Wegner, pressure is on, incomplete. And we have a penalty flag thrown at the 25-yard line.
See, this is not the game Kansas wants to play tonight because of the speed and the blitzing ability of the Colorado defense. And A.J. Kristoff, the defense coordinator, is going to blitz in pass situations.
Already the second penalty against Colorado this evening. Terry Allen talking it over, the 41-year-old, with one of the officials. Terry Allen was such in a good mood yesterday. He said, you know, I told our players, let's forget about the Nebraska game. He said, my glass is always half full, not half empty.
10 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Costly penalty.
But that's the killer. It's not yardage, it's the opportunities again, especially in this area of the football field. So Colorado's playing good on defense, but they cannot afford to give Kansas extra opportunities. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Like Rick Neuheisel, Terry Allen was also a quarterback in college. First down and 10, ball on the 26-yard line. Kansas's second possession of the game. Winbush just slicing his way through the hole down to the 20-yard line. Pickup of 6 before Michael Lewis, the true freshman out of Richmond, Texas, comes up with a stop.
Nice job again by the guys up front. Watch big old Dircher, number 79 here on the left of your screen or the right of your screen. He just takes somebody, big old number Jesse Warren, number 98, and pancake. Now, that is what you call a pancake. When you knock a defensive lineman down and he lands on his rear end and his back. That's a great example of a pancake.
In wrestling, that would have been a 2-point takedown. Not much going. Jesse Warren, the junior out of Dallas, Texas, number 98 on the stop.
Well, he was mad because he got pancaked on the last play, and he heard us say it up here. So he's fired up, and he's coming back. But this is a good, young defensive front led by Brady McDonald right there, number 82, by Aaron Marshall, number 90. A good, young group of defensive linemen at the University of Colorado.
A nice sustained drive by Kansas so far. They were minus 19 minutes versus Nebraska last year as far as time, or last week as far as time is possession. Wegner, pressure. He is going to be dumped again. They have given up only 4 sacks in the last 4 games, but it's a different story tonight. Sykes gets it. Marshall helps out. Second sack of the evening for Colorado.
When you look at Jason Sykes, you say, boy, is he an athlete. They told us that he is the best linebacker, quote, athlete they have recruited here in Colorado since Hannibal Navies 3 years ago. He's a big play guy, 6'3", 220 pounds.
Joe Garcia with Harrison Hill holding will attempt the field goal from about 38-yard lines, and it is blocked. Tipped right at the line of scrimmage, no good, and Colorado holds. I think it may have been Aaron Marshall who got a hand on a big number 90. And with 5:54 left in the first, we'll step aside. It's scoreless in Lawrence.
When you find the one that's unlike any other, that's when it's love. That's when it's Dr. Pepper.
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster
lots of green. Because right now, during Buick's Fall Collection event, we've got great deals like 0.9% APR financing to every 1998 Buick in stock, or cashback savings of up to $3,000. So come in and see our Fall Collection. But hurry, because when the 98 Buicks are gone, the Buick Fall Collection will be too.
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Trinity Car Rental. Great cars, great rates in over 70 countries worldwide. By GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA. And by Marriott Hotels, Resorts, and Suites. We believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. As the sun sets on Fraser Hall on the campus of the University of Kansas, one of the prettiest campuses in the Big 12. Marlon Barnes back in the backfield, alone setback, and he has the football. Crosses the 35 up to about the 37. Now let's take a Dr. Pepper game break. Go to our College Football Saturday studios with Kevin Frazier.
Thanks a lot, guys. You know Bob Toledo loves the tricky stuff, and the UCLA Bruins pulling out all the stops this afternoon against Cal. That's John Robick from Jermaine Lewis. He was wide open. UCLA Rose 16.
Kevin, they have a building named after you here on this beautiful campus here in Lawrence.
But they pronounce it wrong. Machete gets hit as he releases, but the pass is complete to Tom Ashworth, the tight end. Boy, Machete took a shot again, but he was able to complete the pass. Ashworth with his 8th reception of the year. Pick up a 24 on the play.
Now you're going to see the toughness of Mike Machete. He just gets drilled again when he releases the football. He gets a bootleg to his right. He looks for Ashworth coming out, and bang, he gets decked. Watch this. But you know what? He bounces back each and every time and gets up. That's a lot of weight on top of him.
Colorado keeps it on the ground. Down to about the 37-yard line. Spike Dykes, the head coach of Texas Tech, had the great line. Talked about the toughness of Machete, and after the game he said, Machete beat us like a rented mule. You got to stay on this guy.
What is a rented mule?
With Spike, he's the guy who says my team all drinks from the same water dipper.
Well, I don't, because I still don't know what a rented or a borrowed mule is, but we'll ask him in a couple weeks when we have the Tech game.
Second down and 8 now for Colorado. Knocking on the door already, the Jayhawks goal line. Machete over the middle, passes tipped incomplete. Intended for Ashworth at the tight end again. I think it may have hit him in the shoulder pad.
You know, going into the game tonight, Ashworth had only had 7 catches. But it's obvious that Colorado wants to involve the tight end a little bit more. You're going to see Steve Pratt drop back. He gets a hit on Ashworth, and the ball goes through his hands. Now, Ashworth was recruited to Colorado as an offensive tackle. He's in between a tight end and in between a tackle.
Third down and 8. Stingers wide to the left. Barnes in motion. Machete right at the first down marker. The pass is complete to Cheverini. 19 of his catches this season have gone for a first down, and that may have been number 20.
Well, you know, he gives it away all the time. Mike Machete does. He looks for Cheverini on third down. But the trick is to stop it now, because everybody knows he is going to throw to Cheverini a majority of the time on third down. He's got great confidence, and he's got a great feel for what Cheverini's going to do.
On the offense, 2 men moving at the same time. Go 5 yards back from the previous spot, and repeat third down.
Well, it's a moot point. The catch by Cheverini. Already Colorado with 3 penalties for 30 yards. Kansas 1 of 5.
You know, coming into the game, Colorado had 51 penalties for 500 yards. That's a lot of penalties. They've got to somehow end this penalty problem because it's haunted them for the last 4 years.
Now it's third down and 13. Graham in motion. 4-man rush. Machete has time. Now he scrambles. Still looking. Pass is complete again inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line. And again, it is Cheverini. Patrick Brown on the coverage. You just mentioned it. Everybody knows they're going to do it, and he still gets it.
Well, the one thing Mike Machete can do, though, he can escape. He gets himself out of trouble. He's a little bit like Brett Favre. The rush man goes inside, he goes outside. He's got a wonderful feel on how to escape from pressure.
One thing that Machete said prior to the game this evening, he said, I have to get out of the pocket. I've been staying in the pocket too much. He wants to move around a little bit. He's done it tonight. He's been successful. First and 10, ball on the 26 of Kansas. Machete, no place to go. Look out. Still on his feet. Has some running room. Has a man open. Great shot, Machete. Completes it to Marcus Bibby. Marquise Bibby with the reception, but what patience by number 4 at Colorado.
And great frustration by the defensive front at that time from Kansas. You're going to see Machete. He just puts a little bit of move. He makes one guy miss, number 41, Deion Rayford. He comes back to the other side. Somebody else, number 95, Jeremy Haddock, chases him down, but leaves his feet too soon. When you're a defensive lineman and you're going full speed, you can't leave your feet. You've got to tackle quarterbacks high.
Second down and 2 now for Colorado. Machete with the option. The pitch, the first down, inside the 15, down to the 13. Bowers makes the stop on Marlon Barnes.
And you know, Ron, I talked about this in the scouting report. One of the keys for Kansas tonight was to keep Mike Machete in the pocket behind the offensive line, because Machete's only 5'10", and the offensive line is huge, and it's hard to throw over. So this defense from Kansas wants to keep him behind his offensive line, because quite frankly, he doesn't see as well down the field.
Barnes, 5 carries, 15 yards. That puts him over 1,000 yards rushing for his career. First and 10, ball on the 13. Barnes, right side, knifes his way down to the 10. Steve Bratton makes the stop. The senior out of Colorado who said he wasn't recruited by the Colorado Buffaloes, said, I don't think I was good enough back then.
His dad played for the University of Colorado. He's a quarterback.
Father was Jim. And the numbers on Steve Bratton likes to wear clothes from the 70s. Said he likes the disco era. Steve, my man, come in my closet. I got a bunch for you. Second down and 7. Barnes straight ahead. That'll be good for another first down, and it should be first and goal to go for the Buffaloes. Chad Kohler from the free safety spot on the stop.
Having Bratton in the defense, I think, really helps Kansas, just like having Marlon Barnes in the backfield really helps Colorado's run game. So you got a very good linebacker and a very good tailback playing tonight, and quite frankly, both guys have been hurt for most of the year. Bratton's a tough guy. He's had 4 knee surgeries, 2 on each knee in his career here in Kansas.
Now, it wasn't first down. He was about 6 inches short. It's third down and about a foot. Colorado. Did he get in? Touchdown, Colorado! Marlon Barnes.
You're going to see Barnes here now. He takes it up, dips his shoulder. He's got to break the plane of the goal line. And it looks like he broke the plane right there. That's a good call by the official. The football broke up the plane of the goal line.
The extra point by the Big 12 Conference's Special Teams Player of the Week, Jeremy Aldridge. That is only the 4th touchdown rushing by a tailback or a fullback, and Machete has something to cheer about.
Hi, I'm Brian, and this is my wife, Danelle. Even though we're professional stunt people, we're still really cautious. That's why we like our Saturn. They're the only cars to offer reinforced steel space frames, safety cages, traction control, and anti-lock brakes for under $16,000. I mean, just because we're stunt people doesn't mean we're crazy. No, I'm not. Cellular phone offers are not always clear. But ever since Sprint PCS built the only all-digital nationwide network, everything is clear, including the offer. Hello?
Sprint PCS now just dine anytime with free long distance.
Good. Now just a dime anytime with free long distance.
Is it pain? Is it pleasure? Is it in you?
With 1:27 left to play in the first quarter, the Colorado Buffaloes have taken the early lead 7-0 on the Kansas Jayhawks. Along with Aaron Clemens and Artie Gigantino, I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you to Lawrence, Kansas on a beautiful Saturday evening. Army 17. Trainers always keeping busy on the sideline as Aldridge kick it away. Not a bad little honor that Jeremy Aldridge received last week for his efforts against Texas Tech.
Well, you know, Chris Brown from Nebraska gets a lot of notoriety as, quote, the best place kicker in the Big 12, but this guy, I believe, is just as good. He just doesn't get some of the notoriety that some other kickers around the country get. He's efficient, he's accurate, he's been a clutch kicker so far for Rick Neuheisel.
David Wimbush and Andre Childs set to receive the kick. Kicking with the wind. Line drive knuckleball. Goes out of the end zone, and Kansas will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20. And this is a tough time for Kansas, and Eric Clemens has more on that.
Zach Wegner sitting on the KU bench right now talking to one of the trainers. Haven't gotten an update yet as to what his problem exactly is, but he is holding conversation and he is wincing a little bit in pain. As soon as we get an update on Zach, we will update it, guys. Back to you.
Well, Jay Alexander will take over at quarterback, the 6'2 junior out of Independence, Kansas. And up until this year, he had not played football for 2.5 years. Norris and Bruce in the backfield. And it is Julius Bruce, the senior out of Olathe, Kansas. And we were talking to Terry Allen yesterday about this. And listen, what if Zach Wegner goes down? He said, listen, we don't have anybody close to the ability of Zach Wegner.
Well, or the experience. And one of the reasons that they stopped running the option here in Kansas is because they don't want to get Wegner hurt. But Jay Alexander's a young man, 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a smart football player. But again, he has not been in the fire, so to speak, this year. So Terry Allen has got to be extremely conservative in what they ask Alexander to do.
Arizona thrown 6 passes this season. Penalty flags are thrown. Kansas jumping around offside.
Excuse me, Ron, if I were Colorado's defense, I would do exactly what they did there. Blitz them. If it looks like there might be a possibility of a pass, I would blitz them because there's no way Alexander is going to be up to speed on the audible. And Coach Blitz, Andy Kristoff, as we looked at him, A.J. Kristoff knows that. And Coach Blitz will blitz Alexander.
Now Brian Gasaway comes in the lineup now for Kansas.
Offside on the defense. Against in the previous spot. First down.
Now let's see if we can see what happened to Zach Wegner the last offensive series for the Jayhawks.
Well, it's a drop back pass. Sykes comes off the corner, and right there, you see Jashawn Sykes is underneath him, and he just gets bent over. It looks like something in his knee or ankle.
Not a bad pass, Alexander to Fulton. Only his 7th pass of the year, and he completes it to Tremaine Fulton, the sophomore out of Topeka, Kansas. Alexander had a little zip on that.
He had some zip on it, but it's a smart call that time by Terry Allen. It's a 3-step drop, it's a high percentage pass, and you throw it to an experienced receiver like Fulton. And you can see at his average, when he catches the football, he makes something happen with it.
Chandler and Fulton now wide to the left. That was good enough for a first down. Ball's on the 43 for the Jayhawks. Alexander, a little baptism under fire. Pass is complete again to Fulton again. Ben Kelly on the coverage. Kansas does have a 13 quarterback by the name of Jonas Weatherby, son of Charlie Weatherby, head coach of Navy, but they want to redshirt that young man this year. That is why Alexander is playing. And that's going to end the first quarter. It has been interesting. Colorado has scored. Kansas has lost the quarterback. Colorado leads 7-0 after 1.
Here in Colorado, there's a name for the way learning is changing. Technology is transforming learning. Partnerships between academic disciplines are expanding learning. Learning is still found here but also in business alliances here, in the stacks here, and also in here on the web. At CU, there is a name for this transformation in learning. Because in Colorado, we recognize that learning is the new form of labor for the 21st century.
Rise and shine! 30 minutes of your morning, the day's worth of sports. Fox Sports News this morning. Weekdays starting at 6:30 on your Fox Sports Net Retail.
Here's a winning combination. Blackjack Pizza and the Denver Broncos. Blackjack Pizza, winner of the Rocky Mountain Pizza Taste Test, is very proud to be the official pizza of the Denver Broncos. For a limited time, call your nearest Blackjack Pizza and ask for the Broncos Special. With any extra large two-topping pizza, get a free medium cheese pizza delivered to your door for only $10.99. Blackjack Pizza and the Denver Broncos, a winning combination.
The next best thing to breakfast is breakfast at the
Breakfast has never been better. Try La Peep's Mini Denver Omelet, made with ham, cheese, bell peppers, and onions, and served with our famous peasant potatoes and your choice of English muffin. Only $4.50. Celebrate a Denver tradition at La Peep.
The next best thing to breakfast is breakfast at the Peep. The next best thing to breakfast is breakfast at the Peep.
109. We are back in Lawrence, Kansas, along with Artie Gigantino and Eric Clemens. I'm Ron Thulin. Colorado leads 7-0 as we set to get the second quarter underway. Let's send it down to Eric Clemens for an update. Eric?
All right, Ron and Artie, Zach Wagner still on the bench, kind of wincing in pain, talking to the KU trainers over there. He has a concussion, and I was told that his return is very doubtful right now. Of course, if that situation changes, we will certainly let you know. Guys?
Well, the bell's ringing, but he just can't find the phone right now.
You know, he hit his head, I guess, on the turf when he was being bent over backwards.
So the onus goes on Alexander. They keep it on the ground with Julius Bruce. And the senior blasts over the left side, and another Kansas first down. You know, one thing you talk to the Kansas coaches and other coaches, and they say what the real test of a player is how he's going to play in a big game. Jay Alexander, nobody knows what this young man can do. He might be able to come in, step up, no pressure on him. What the heck? Have a good game.
Well, you know, it's like a lot of backup quarterbacks in the National Football League. They learn through osmosis by standing on the bench, standing around in practice, listening in meetings, and absorbing.
A little confusion on the Kansas offense, and Alexander's going to burn a timeout. Smart play by the youngster. Not taking any chances.
But one thing, if you're Terry Allen, I think you got to really pare down what you ask this offense to do with the new quarterback.
It's a wireless jungle out there, but VoiceStream gives you more. Free national digital roaming for 6 months.
Hi, honey. I'm running a little late.
Or free weekend for 6 months.
So what's dinner? Chicken? Hold on. I'm not going to get out till late.
Call now. 1-888-3. So get VoiceStream and get more.
Tell you what I do. During Ford truck season, I got a great deal on my 99 Expedition. It's got room for 9 and a reputation for quality. And with the Triton D8, it's got the most towing capacity in the class. Which means no problem pulling this trailer.
People can't stop singing during National Ford Truck Season.
Gonna buy me a Ford truck and cruise it up and down the road.
Come on, we get crazy about the best-selling, best-built trucks during National Ford Truck Season.
I remember when Patty learned to drive. And when she bought her first car. And I remember taking her to Shelter Insurance agent for car insurance. We had our car insured with Shelter for years. I knew their claim service was the best. And Shelter would be there for her.
Hi, Daddy.
Because Shelter's always been there for me.
Sports Golf 99. It's easier on your own than the real thing. Sports games, Fox Attitude.
Homecoming in Lawrence, Kansas, and Colorado leads the Jayhawks 7-0, 14:38 left to play. Quarter number 2. First and 10 for Kansas. Ball on the Colorado 41-yard line. Tanner Hancock in motion. They keep it on the ground. Bruce trips up right as he got the football. Well, next week on College Football Saturday, we've got a good one coming your way. All-American hitting machine Dat Wynn leads the 8th-ranked Aggies as they rumble with Big 12 rival Oklahoma State. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Texas A&M, a big win over Texas Tech this evening, and we will be at Lewis Field in Stillwater next week to bring you that game. Loss of a yard, 2nd and 11 now for the Jayhawks. High formation. Alexander, straight drop, and he is going to be dumped. Jesse Warren, the junior out of Dallas, Texas. That is sack number 3.5 for the big fella. Third sack for Colorado already this evening.
One of the problems with play-action pass, it takes too long. That time it was a play-action pass fake by Jay Alexander. It gave Warren a chance to come up the field and obviously sack him. It looked like Kansas was going to go for the home run because they put their freshman sensation, Brian Gassaway, number 2, in one of the wide receiver spots. When he comes in the game, they usually throw it to him.
Have to wonder how much time Alexander got with timing patterns with his starting rotation as far as the receivers. On 3rd and 21, the pass incomplete. It did hit the ground, intended for Fulton. And Kansas will be forced to kick it away. Now we talk about the North standings in the Big 12 Conference. Let's take a look at the South standings. Texas A&M now with a 2-game cushion over Texas Tech. Texas playing Baylor tonight, and you saw just a moment ago that Baylor has already scored in that ball game. And tonight, the Oklahoma State Cowboys and the Oklahoma Sooners renew the Bedlam series of football. Battle of the Ryan boys, Rob and Rex Ryan, defensive coordinators for Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
I think Texas A&M is going to be hard to beat in that division.
This is Kelly. Picked up immediately after the catch, and he's hit the 15-yard line. Nice job by Aldridge on the stop. 13 minutes left to play in the second. Colorado by a touchdown.
About to change the way you feel about driving on ice. Ice Race to show you a breakthrough in tire technology. The Blizzak Ice Tire. The first winter tire with Stop patented multi-cell compound design by using snow and stick to ice. In fact, at only 30 miles per hour, a set of Blizzak 5 feet shorter than a set of popular all-season radials. Blizzak from Bridgestone. Could not beat them. You. Available at these fine Bridgestone retailers.
Hi everybody, Mark McIntosh for Boulder Toyota Volvo. Now is the time to visit us at the corner of Foothills and Pearl in Boulder. We have got great value on our 98 Volvo Closeout while they last. C70, Cross Country, S70, mini price below factory invoice. Look around for that best deal, but then make that short money-saving drive to Boulder Toyota Volvo. Home of rock-solid satisfaction, rock-bottom prices, and value on Volvo.
Now pay-per-view brings you more than ever before. Introducing TCI Digital Cable Pay-Per-View, an exciting feature of TCI Digital Cable with more hit movies and more frequent start times, with more action, more comedy, and more drama. It's like having a movie multiplex in your own home. And with TCI Digital Cable Pay-Per-View is more affordable with a new low price for every movie. TCI Digital Cable Pay-Per-View, more choice, more convenience, more of the best entertainment at home. This is Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
Big baseball news to pass along. According to reports, Mets catcher Mike Piazza will remain a Met. He is set to sign a 7-year, $91 million deal and is believed to be the richest in baseball history. Expect an official announcement on Monday from the team. Right now, let's get back to the game in Lawrence. You know what? I bet Artie could do something with that $91 million.
I tell you what, Kevin Frazier, that contract's second only to yours, my man.
I love Piazza. He's one of my heroes.
Oh, wait a minute. Gigantino likes Piazza.
I even look like him a little bit.
Machete's going deep. Pass is complete to Stiggers at the 30-yard line. Pick up a 15 on the play. And again, Mike Machete takes a big hit. Tim Bowers lowered the boom on him again.
I like the call, though, throwing when you're backed up. Get the ball out of the end zone there. Get it out of the dark area in terms of being backed up to the goal line and give yourself some room in which to operate a drive. And he's throwing it to the right guy in Marcus Stiggers. He's the guy that can go all the way every time he touches the ball. City so far is having a good night. 8 out of 11.
This time Colorado keeps it on the ground, doing a nice job mixing up the run and the pass as Marlon Barnes tripped up.
And you know, you watch Barnes run the football. He really does a good job hitting it up in there. He sees a hole, he accelerates into the hole. I think he's got the best position of any of the backs on this Colorado team. And Kennedy Pollard, the running back coach, told me last night, really expected this running game to get going today because Marlon Barnes was back in the lineup.
Well, he had that 135-yard performance against the Sooners a few weeks ago. Adds to his total. Second down, maybe picks up 2 on the play. Bowers again on the stop, along with John Williams from that nose tackle position. Fox Sports News Primetime, your source for college football news. Who's making a run for the Heisman? What teams are moving up in the rankings and which teams remain undefeated? We've got college football covered like no one else. Fox Sports News Primetime tonight after the game. Check your local listings. 3rd down and 3.
Colorado's been 56% successful this year on 3rd and 3 to 4.
A lot of people on the line of scrimmage. Machete steps up and splits the defense. Dives forward up to the 45-yard line. Patrick Brown trips him up. Marlon Barnes doing a nice job, but I think he nailed Steve Bratton. We've got a buff down.
This is what you call collisions inside. Watch number 54, Steve Bratton, come on a blitz, but Marlon Barnes comes across and just decks him. Now that is great pass protection that time with his shoulder by Marlon Barnes. You know, offensive linemen sometimes get all the blame when the quarterback gets sacked, but a lot of times it's the tailback or the fullback that's got to help in protection. And I hope Marlon Barnes is okay being helped off the field. You want to see it again. Watch Bratton come right up inside, and Barnes just step up and just lower the boom onto him. And it looks like he grabbed his ankle on that after he put his shoulder into Steve Bratton. That's just good football by both football players.
Well, injuries started from Marlon Barnes really during the spring and during the early drills. Started with a mid-foot sprain, then he hurt his shoulder, then he had a knee problem. He has been beat up the whole year, and they just get him back after just about a 2-game absence, and he's going to have to sit down again, and Dwayne Cherrington's checked into the tailback spot. He's joined by Andy Peak at the fullback position. 1st and 10 for the Bucs. 11 minutes remaining in the second. Machete, plenty of time out of the flat. Pass is complete. Javon Green with a reception, his 21st of the year. Jamie Harris on the coverage. But Colorado has been beat up. We talked about the number of lineups they've already had. Here's who have missed games.
And these are the starters that have missed games. So they have had some real problems, but it's done 2 things. Number one, it's given Rick Neuheisel and his staff a chance to let younger players play. But also, it's helped the depth and the future here at the University of Colorado by making young players step up to the plate, so to speak, and to play.
After the pickup of 15, 1st and 10. Dwayne Cherrington, the junior out of Santa Ana, California, who coaches really feel hits the hole the quickest of anybody. Over on the stop from the free safety spot. Already, you can see the total yards. Colorado, a football field plus better than Kansas.
You know, coming into the game, we talked about it, but Kansas gives up almost 400 yards a game. They're 83rd in the country. And Rick Neuheisel wanted to pull in the horns a little bit tonight. Wanted to be a little bit more conservative because he really felt he could move the ball, but also that his defense could dominate Kansas's offense.
Machete, play action pass into the flat. Pass is complete to the tight end, Tom Ashworth. That is Ashworth's second reception this evening, and Barnes being looked at by the doctor.
It looks like he's looking at his knee there. And the trainer's shaking his head. That's not a good sign.
And when the doctors and the trainers look at a player, they really want to find out exactly what happened. That has something to do with maybe what happened in the injury and where the injury is. Now they're looking at the ankle. First and 10 again for the Buffaloes, knocking on the door once again. Ball is loose, still loose. Let's see who came up with it. Kansas diving for it. I think Sherrington may have come back up with the football.
You know, Sherrington's sitting on the bench. He's a little cold. He's not used to coming in. Watch him go to the left here. It's the ball. They just lose it. It's a good pitch. You know what's good about that? It's great concentration by him of continuing to focus on the football and then going and recovering it. That's a bad play, obviously, and an error on the catch, but excellent focus by him and determination to go and get the football.
Loss of 5 on the play. Machete has the tie, passes incomplete. Intended for Severini.
That's what we were talking about before. When Machete's got to stay in the pocket, he's not nearly as an accurate a passer as when he's on the perimeter running around.
And we have a penalty. And they're going to be talking to Kansas.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Now back him up, and it'll be second in a bunch.
Another reason you want to get on the perimeter as much as possible. It takes the heat off of the offensive line. And it looks like number 73 right here, Kane Cohen, who's making his first start tonight, is guilty of the infraction. He sets up. Boy, it looks like a grab right there to me. So it was a call on number 73, Kane Cohen, who's making his first start tonight here for the University of Colorado.
Cohen played in 96 to 20 snaps. Didn't play at all last year. Because of injuries, he's getting some playing time tonight. Machete right down the middle. Pass is complete again to Darren Severini. His fourth reception of the evening.
Now that time, Kansas here, watch what happens up front here. They're going to rush 3 guys. They're in a maximum zone type of coverage. And Severini, right here, does a great job of getting behind the linebackers and finding a seam. That's called an option route. He's going to find his way inside and just sneak to a place in a pocket in the coverage and get open.
3rd and 17 for the Buffaloes. Kohler splitting the defense down the middle. They go to Severini in the flat. Turns right at the 21-yard line. That'll be short of the first down. Colorado will face 4th.
Kansas went very conservative again that time. Rushed 3 men and dropped 8.
They will attempt the field goal into the wind. 4th down and 3. Jeremy Aldridge. 14 of 16 this year. They'll spot it right at the 27-yard line. The holder is Nick Peach. The kick got up and away. And it is no good.
Looked a little bit to the right.
It looks like he pushed it just a touch. The wind is coming right in his face, and we noticed in pregame warm-ups, Aldridge spent a lot of time kicking into the wind. And this just takes a coach's stomach and turns it all in the knots.
See, Rick thinks it's good. but what is he supposed to say, right? You can tell by the look on his face that it wasn't very good.
Well, the wind is stiff, and Colorado has the lead.
Say, Mr. Bill, let's go for a ride in the Lexus GS 400.
Nice in here.
Hey, let's let our friend Sluggo drive.
Oh, no, he's going to be mean to me.
Don't forget to buckle up. Sluggo likes this big V8. Whoa, 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Wow. Hey, Sluggo says he could drive all day. The Lexus GS 400, a flat-out value at Stevenson Lexus and Cooney Lexus.
First, there were the Wild Juicers, then the Crazy Eights. Now the Colorado Lottery introduces the Lucky Sevens.
Hey, look, a penny. Head side up.
Oh, you sevens think you're so lucky.
That's not very lucky. Now that is some really bad luck.
Lucky Sevens. It could be our luckiest game yet.
Get the rabbits.
one-stop brake shop with a full line of quality Vestas brake parts to help you get the job done right. More brands, more parts. Checker, the place to start for parts.
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. And by GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA. This is the Fog Allen statue outside of Fog Allen Fieldhouse, and it's almost basketball season here in Lawrence. Roy Williams, another good team on hand. First and 10 for Kansas, ball on their own 20. Alexander rolls out, passes incomplete, intended for Jason Gully.
If you're Jason Gully, you got to make that catch.
Exactly.
Alexander, it's a good move, throw the ball on first down. It's the first time they've done it with him. Give him some confidence that he can do it. The big old Gully, like I said, he's 265 pounds. He's got to catch that. Especially if he wants to stay a tight end, no move to the tackle. He keeps dropping passes like this. Now, come on, Jason, get those hands up and catch it away from your body.
Excellent coaching tip. Thank you. Looks like he tried to catch with his pass. Absolutely. Can't blame that man, Jay Alexander. Second down and 10.
There's an audible.
Colorado bringing a bunch. Alexander lofted it up. Pass is complete to Tremaine Fulton. Boy, for a young guy that hasn't seen a whole lot of action the last 3 years, he had some touch on that pass. Pick up a 25 on the play.
You know, give him a mental plus on this one. He's audibling at the line of scrimmage. When he touches his helmet like that, that's an audible. And what he did, he audibled to a fade pattern to Fulton. He read the blitz, the beginning of a blitz from Colorado, and came back with the fade pattern. He's happy about it.
Fulton has all three of Alexander's completions. Winbush and Norris in the backfield. They keep it on the ground with Winbush. Keeps the feet moving, picking up 9 before Marcus Washington comes up from the free safety spot to make the stop.
Watch Tanner Hancock here, number 43. He's a little guy. He comes through and makes just a great block along with number 33, Moran Norris. That's good blocking that time by Hancock and Norris to spring Winbush up inside. And this guy is huge. Norris is 6 foot. He's 250 pounds.
Second down and 1. Fulton one-on-one coverage with Ben Kelly on the left side. And they're going to put it up. Looking for Fulton. Still looking. Tucks it. First down, Kansas, as Alexander makes his way down to the 38-yard line. Scott Nemeth runs him out of bounds. During that timeout, the last timeout we had, you and I were talking, what has Terry Allen told this young guy? Got his feet wet early on, but what did he tell him?
He asked him, what are you comfortable with? Here's the 4 or 5 run plays. Here's the 2 or 3 checks. Here's the 4 or 5 pass plays I think we can run. Are you comfortable with them? And so far, it's been handing the ball off. It's been throwing the 3-step drops. It's been bootlegging to the left or the right. It looks like Alexander's comfortable with those plays.
Well, he's picked up 9 on that play. Right up the middle is Winbush. Look out! Touchdown to Jayhawks! Touchdown run by David Winbush, his 4th rushing touchdown of the year. Artie, that was pretty.
It was pretty, but sometimes a new voice, sometimes a new personality in the huddle energizes a football team. And obviously, that's happening here right now in front of us with Jay Alexander. They've got the Colorado defense a little bit off balance because it looks like Alexander moves around a little bit better than Wegner.
For the tie. The 28th play for Kansas at 25 or more yards. Winbush likes it. Alexander likes it. And we are tied in Lawrence.
Fox Sports News, bringing it home every night.
San Diego.
Milwaukee.
Chicago. San Francisco. New York.
All your teams, all the
stars. All the stories.
I'm tired of people taking advantage of me.
Harold Strawberry has cancer.
I'm trying to be strong and do the best that I can.
The Fox Sports News team. We're all
Randy Sparaki.
Sam Marciano. Jeannie's Alaska.
Michael Kay. John Walsh.
John Kelly.
We'll be here to cover it all.
Fox Sports News every night. Check local listings.
At Deal Index Church, guys, we've been serving you right for almost 20 years. 20 years of great Deal Index deals. So shop and compare. One price is not always your best price, because nobody beats the Deal Index deal. Nobody. New cars $99.95. Full-size trucks and minivans $69.95. New Durango 4x4s $24.95. 190 financing, back 76 up to $6,000 and Denver's highest trade allowance. One price. Bring us your best price. If we can't meet or beat any bonafide here at Church like that, we'll give you the car. That's full.
Warning. Canyon County road crews have been round the clock removing fallen trees that knocked down power lines as thunderstorms rid the region. And it looks like...
Comfort that never quits. Red Wing shoes. Work hard.
Keep what? Fox Sports News.
Still ahead on the Marriott halftime report. Scores and highlights from around the country. As always, I'll be joined by my partner, Kellen Winslow. We'll have words and pictures from that Big 12 battle between number 19 Missouri and number 7 Nebraska. Also, we have some great vintage video of my partner, Kellen Winslow. We had to colorize it, but it is great stuff. Ron and Artie, you don't want to miss the video. Kellen Winslow in a college uniform. That's coming out right now. Let's go back out.
Well, we may not want to miss Kellen Winslow. What we did miss is the number one punt, our kickoff return turning team in the NCAA. Kelly with a 53-yard return on this.
Well, it's a danger when you kick to him, but look at the wedge guys right out in front of him, just making room. Tom Ashworth does a great job of throwing a block that springs Kelly up the sideline. And that's what you don't want to have happen. If you're Kansas here, you don't want to have a big play answer your touchdown.
What do you do if Zach Wegner can come back in for Kansas and Alexander doing well?
I keep Alexander in the game. When you're 2 and 5, you got to go with the hot guy. And right now, Jay Alexander's hot.
Sherrington, the lone setback. We are tied at 7. Machete scrambles. Penalty flag is drawn. The pass is complete. We are going to have a holding call. Then Nichols and Kane Cullum, both of them are reaching out and grabbing people. And it may be on Cullum.
Well, it looked like from up here it was on Cullum.
Well, it looked like he grabbed Jeremy Hannick from that left defensive end spot.
Dell Wiegand, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday he felt it was very important to put somebody on Cullum the entire game to try to confuse him, because again, in Cullum's defense, it's his first start. It's hard to come off the bench in the middle of the year and start here in the Big 12. But sometimes you try to compensate a little bit by reaching out and grabbing people. So I'm certainly not blaming it all on him, because when you have a quarterback that runs around a lot and improvises like Machete, I think it puts a lot of pressure on the offensive linemen because they don't know what side the quarterback's on.
First down at 23, following the penalty. Two wide receivers to the left. Machete right down the middle. Pass is complete. Great catch by Javon Green. Coming into the game, he had 7 receptions the last couple of games. He's got a couple tonight. 7 different receivers have caught passes tonight for the Buffaloes.
Well, Javon Green's a smooth receiver. He runs like Bambi when you're watching him at practice. And, you know, Colorado likes to spread the ball around. And as you can see, 7 different receivers have caught passes for more than 167 yards this year. And that's spreading the ball around.
Pick up of 16, it is still 2nd and 7. Bouncing out to the outside, it is Sherrington. Will be about 3 yards short of the first down. Nice job by that Kansas defense stringing it out and getting some help.
Stringing it out, swarming the ball, because Sherrington is a slasher, as you talked about before. He can get up in that hole and make you miss. And I like the way Kansas' defense is at least hanging in here tonight. 7-7 right now. I think they're playing so much better than they did a week ago against Nebraska. Now, granted, this is a different style of offense. It's not option. It's not a real power offense like Nebraska was. But I think they're hanging in there. They're doing a pretty good job of controlling this guy right here, Mike Machete.
Well, Rick Neuheisel calls the timeout with 5:10 left in the half, and we are tied at 7.
It's Ricky Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
Who's on the line.
Nope, not kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Dad, home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
Kansas trying to snap a 3-game losing skid, and right now they are tied with Colorado at 7 apiece. Third down and 1 for the Bucks. Machete. Pass is complete, almost intercepted. Still on his feet. Daniel Graham, the redshirt freshman out of Denver, Colorado.
Graham is in the game. Look for him to catch a pass. He's the best receiving tight end that they have here at Colorado. Now, what it is, it's a gutsy call because it's a bootleg out on the corner this time by Machete. But again, he throws better on the move. He freezes the linebackers. He freezes the defensive line, takes the ball out of the boot, and delivers it right on the money to the big guy, Daniel Graham.
Well, Tim Bowers is 6 foot. If he'd have been 6'1", he would have tipped that pass. Vivian Sherrington in the backfield. Machete rolls again. The pass is incomplete. Intended for Roman Hollowell. Hollowell is open for a second. Couldn't get it. October 31st, the F1 season wraps up here on Fox Sports, and then it all comes down to this. One last head-to-head battle between Hakkinen and Schumacher as this amazing season comes to a thrilling end in Japan. The Japanese Grand Prix, October 31st on Fox Sports Net, your local listing. Second down and 10 for Colorado. Ball on the 20-yard line. Machete has the time over the middle. Pass is intercepted. The sophomore from right here in Lawrence, Kansas, his first interception of the year.
Kansas did exactly what they wanted on that. They keep him in the pocket, Machete in the pocket, force him to throw the ball down the field, and Herb, who's playing safety, comes right over the top and picks the ball up. The ball was a little bit underthrown, but Herb saw it perfectly, like a free safety does, and came in and picked it all. Now, Colorado cannot afford tonight to turn the ball over too many more times. So far, they've turned it over twice.
Winbush to the 25, knocked out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Taking advantage of Mike Machete's second interception of the evening. He had only 3 coming into tonight. And Winbush gets him out of a hole.
And what Kansas is doing, they're spreading out Colorado. They're going to a one-back set. They're making the University of Colorado spread out to cover all the receivers. and they're trapping, and they're hitting with the quick hitting plays off inside. And as you can see, Winbush with 85 yards so far tonight.
Coaches wanted him to step it up tonight, and he has so far. Bouncing to the outside. He makes people miss.
You're exactly right when you describe him as bouncing. He's a bouncing type of running back. He's a guy that goes boom, 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 and you don't know, there's like a little scat back somewhere. He's a little guy, but he's fast. He's got a low center of gravity. Brandon Southworth, the big linebacker, number 66, just misses him. He misses him because he's got a blocker still on him. Number 76, Justin Glasgow. But again, the little scat back juked him to the inside and then going to the outside. Nice running that time.
Alexander will try it from the shotgun on 2nd and 8. Fulton goes in motion. Colorado with some pressure. Alexander trying to get out. Still on his feet. Lets it fly. What a presence by Alexander. This is complete to Gassaway. The true freshman out of Grandview, Missouri. This is an impressive performance by number 6.
A hero maybe in the making, but he makes a couple of people miss. Colorado blitzes him. He moves around in the pocket. He steps up and he delivers the football. I don't know if he knows what he's doing, but sure looks good doing it.
It's one of those things you don't know enough to be scared.
You're right. You got that exactly right.
On 1st and 10 again for the Jayhawks. 3:05 and a half. This time Winbush is stopped. Derek Clemens has an injury update for us. Eric?
All right, guys, I'm on the Colorado sideline. Poor Marlon Barnes. He missed the first 3 weeks of the season with a freak kind of right foot sprain. The kind usually suffered in auto accidents. He's having a problem with that foot. It was retaped. He changed shoes. His return, we're told, is very doubtful. We'll keep you up to date, guys.
Bernardo, you talked at the beginning of the show what Marlon Barnes means to this Colorado running game. They haven't had a big running game this year, and now they may lose their big gun.
Right, but when he was in there tonight, at least it showed some spark.
Exactly. On 2nd and 11, Alexander's pass is complete up to the 48-yard line. That'll be about 3 yards short of the first down. Michael Chandler, sort of the Darren Chiaverini of Kansas. He's the sure-handed blue-collar receiver.
And again, we talked at the scouting report at the beginning of the broadcast. The pressure tonight was on the Colorado corners to cover these wide receivers from Kansas. I think they're solid wide receivers. I don't think they got blazing speed, but they can go up and catch the football. And so far, it looks like Kansas wide receivers are outdueling these corners from Colorado.
Pass is complete again. Ball knocked out, but it is a completion and a first down. Again, it is Gassaway. Coming up at halftime, we'll bring you the Marriott Halftime Report with Kevin Frazier and Kellen Winslow in that exciting Missouri-Nebraska game. The last time the Tigers beat the Huskers, a guy named Kellen Winslow was playing tight end for Missouri. Let's highlights of other games around the country, and there have been a couple of upsets. All coming up on our Marriott Halftime Report with Kevin and Kellen. Minute 42 to go. In the first half, tied at 7. It's been a dandy for Kansas. Winbush slices his way over the 40 down to the 37-yard line. Michael Lewis on the stop. Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, told us last week he was worried about David Winbush.
Well, he should be, because, he's one of the quickest guys I've ever seen, at least this year, to hit the hole. As soon as he's got the football in his hands, wow, he can accelerate to the hole. So if you're an offensive lineman, you don't have to hold the hole for very long, or you're blocked for very long.
Good point. 2nd and 2. Clock is running at 1:08 to play in the half. Winbush, big hole left side. Crosses the 30 down to the 27-yard line. The clock stops at another Kansas first down. Let's take a look at our Burger King game summary so far. Mike Machete having a good night, except he's thrown 2 picks. Barnes is injured, but he does have a 3-yard touchdown run. Winbush a 38-yard run to pay dirt. Colorado controlling the total yards, but Kansas starting to pile them on.
And in a hurry, especially here in the second quarter. And Winbush has 103 of those yards.
49 seconds to go. Clock is ticking. Alexander's pass is complete. Getting out of bounds, stopping the clock again, it is Eric Patterson.
Now this is vintage Terry Allen offense here. Terry Allen, the head coach, calls the plays. He also helps coach the quarterback. But this is what he likes to do. He likes to keep you off bounds. He likes to spread the ball around. He right now is in his element because he's got some control over what's happening to A.J. Kristoff's defense. And quite frankly, the Colorado defense is back on their heels a little bit. And that man's face tells you that's exactly what's happening right now.
Now Colorado is going to burn the timeout. That is the fiery A.J. Kristoff. And Rick Neuheisel has said he's taken a more active role in the defense, starting to go into some of the meetings. He's in the middle of the huddle.
Well, you know, this year the defense in Colorado changed. Every position was put up for grabs. Every position was wide open. And A.J. felt there was better competition on the defense. So far, so good. This year, there's 6 coming into this game. Total defense in the country, 31st against the run. They've done a nice job of improving the defense at the University of Colorado.
It's Hardcore Football on Fox Sports Net. Ronnie Lott, Bill Maas, Ron Pitts, bring you Turf Talk from the toughest guys in the NFL. Hardcore X's and O's, hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Hardcore football for the hardcore fan. This week's featured guest is former Oakland Raider defensive lineman Ben Davidson. Hardcore Football Tuesday at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listing. Zach Wegner, starting quarterback for Kansas, on the sideline with a concussion.
And you know, we spent some time with him yesterday. Ken Fouts and I, our director, and he was a frustrated young man, especially after that Nebraska game.
Bruce and Norris in the backfield in the I formation. Alexander looking in the end zone. Lets it fly, pass is incomplete, no penalty flag. 37 seconds to go.
You know, that was a smart play by him. I don't know if he threw it short on purpose, but we'll give him credit for doing that. And it was a wonderful job by the offensive line because he had no one around him. You know, he's 7 for 10 tonight for 78 yards, but the word energy doesn't show up on that graph because he's given this Kansas offense, Ron, a bunch of energy.
Third down and 4. Wimbush following behind the big offensive line in Kansas with another first down. Brandon Southward coming from the middle linebacker spot to make the stop.
Number 73, Damian Hunt, got out in front of him that time. It was a zone play with the guard pulling, and he just led that 6'2", 310-pound body of his up into the hole. And he's a big guy, boy, and he can squat 650 pounds. You gotta love him.
Kansas can get another first down if they don't score. Alexander looking for Pater, and it is going to be incomplete. Fans wanted a hold on Fulton. They're not going to get it.
Well, it was an uncatchable ball. The referee gave the signal that the ball was not catchable. But that was some real good competition that time between him and Ben Kelly.
Timeout's going to be called by Kansas with 18 seconds left in the half. Terry Allen knows this is a golden opportunity that you can take the lead going into halftime. That's a big thing as far as momentum is concerned.
And he's got to be smart here because he's got 2 timeouts. He's got 1 timeout left. So if he throws an incomplete pass or the clock stops, you still have time to run 2 or 3 plays here. But if I were Terry Allen, I would look to the end zone right here because they are 2-5 right now. They're 0-5 in the Big 12. You want to come out of this game with a win, and you want to send a message to your football team, hey, we're going to be aggressive and we're going to try to win the game tonight.
In the red zone, it hasn't been too bad for Kansas. 16 of 21 coming into the game with 11 touchdowns, just about 76%. But Jay Alexander taking over for Wegner. Hadn't played in over 2.5 years coming into this season. And he's getting some big-time game action against the number 17 team in the country.
And you know what, Ron? It's really important for an underdog to go into halftime like this with a lead. That's why you want to score. And again, if worse comes to worse, you end up kicking the field goal because the momentum and the good feel at halftime will carry over into the second half.
The Kansas offense, you see the opportunities in the red zone. 18 seconds left in the half. Second down and 10. Colorado bringing a bunch. Looking in the end zone. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Gasaway. Damon Wheeler. Wheels, they call him in the coverage.
And you know, Wheels is only 5'10", and Gasaway is 6'4", so Wheels, our man, really got way up into the air on that. That's a fade pattern. He plays it absolutely perfect. He sees the ball, he feels the man, and he goes up and knocks the ball away. Now, Gasaway is only a pup. He's a freshman. He's a true freshman. Later on in his career, he'll go up and grab that ball.
Final 13 seconds. Winbush to the outside. Has some speed to the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Ben Kelly upends him with 5 seconds left in the half. And a timeout is going to be called by Kansas, and they're going to send in the field goal team. Very impressive drive by the Jayhawks.
And very impressive running by number 22, David Winbush, and leadership by that guy, Jay Alexander.
Colorado only gives up 123 yards rushing the football a game, and tonight they've already given up 114 in the first half. Our GTE Academic Player of the Game is that man right there, Adam Reed. How about a 3.5 GPA? He's a pre-med major. He's going to be a big pre-med major. Two-time Big 12 first-team academic All-American, Adam Reed of Colorado, our Academic Player of the Week.
He's from Boulder High School. Great story about him. He originally went to Northwestern, and he transferred from Northwestern to the University of Colorado. And the reason he left Northwestern, he didn't like the chemistry on the team. The year he left, they went to the Rose Bowl.
Oh, he's going to make a great doctor.
That's true. He says, the reason I left is I didn't like the chemistry. He was talking about a chemistry
class. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, Colorado's going to burn the timeout. That'll be their final timeout. Neither team has any TOs left. Andy Kristoff's defense looking so good in that first quarter, but in the second quarter, Kansas has really put it on.
And A.J. called a timeout here to put some mental pressure on the kicking team from Kansas and make them think about it. Again, A.J. Kristoff is an outstanding defensive coordinator. He'll go in and he'll tighten up that Colorado defense at halftime and make the necessary adjustments. He's a veteran guy. This is his 11th college that he's coached at.
Now, Joe Garcia, the sophomore from Olathe, Kansas North, will attempt the field goal. He worked a lot this summer kicking field goals. His mom shagged the balls. His dad held them. It was a complete family affair for Garcia.
Who snapped?
I hope he had a brother or a sister that did that. Marriott halftime report straight ahead. 6 seconds plus a commercial away. Kellen and Kevin will talk about the Missouri-Nebraska game. Ball will be spotted on the 14-yard line, a 24-yard attempt. Good snap, good hold. Good kick. 1 second left in the half, but Joe Garcia's field goal has given the Kansas Jayhawks the lead.
Now, what you can't do here if you're Kansas, you cannot kick the ball off to Ben Kelly. Put it on the ground. You see a replay, it's a little bit of a wobbly snap, but the ball gets down, and Garcia just nails it. He's going to hold that time, and a great kick.
Harrison Hill, the holder, he's injured. He will not play his usual wide receiver spot, still holding on field goals. And Neuheisel and Kristoff talking it over.
Little strategy about what's happening with the run game. Obviously, A.J. explaining to Rick Neuheisel what they're doing. He says, hey, Winbush just bounced outside on that. We had the hole clogged up, but the guy is so quick, he just bounces outside. You know what, A.J., you're absolutely right. But if I were Kansas here now, Ron, I would not kick the ball off to Ben Kelly. He cannot touch the ball on this, because if he does, there's always a danger he can go the distance.
Now look for the squib kick here with only 1 second. Kelly already a 53-yard return. Colorado to the NCAA in kickoff returns. And there's the squib. They try to lateral to Kelly. Still on his feet, looking for one block. Still on his feet. But he finally goes down. He ran about 60 yards and gained about 1. But that's the way the first half will end. We've got a hero in the making for Terry Allen. Jay Alexander has taken over at quarterback. and has led the Kansas Jayhawks to the halftime lead of 10-7 after Colorado jumped out to a 7-0 lead. And Eric Clemens is with Terry Allen right now.
All right. Coach, if I had told you you'd lose your starting quarterback and move the ball so well with Jay Alexander, I already have a back over 100 yards by the half, what would you have told me?
I told you you were crazy, but that's the funny thing about emotion in football. Kids got fired up for Jay, and they came out and did the things, and David sent it in there. We just got to keep doing it because Colorado's a pretty good football team.
Coach, good luck to you in the second half. Time now for our Marriott halftime report. You know, Coach Terry Allen in his career, his teams are 55-1 when they lead at the half. Right now, his Jayhawks lead 10-7. Let's send it to our Fox College Football Saturday studios and Kevin Frazier. Kevin?
Thanks a lot, Eric. Very good stat. Reality sometimes, though, changes things. Welcome to the Marriott halftime report. Kevin Frazier, and as always, I look deep and I see my receiver, Kellen Winslow. He's open. And tight end is always open. Kellen, short Kansas scores just before the half, but still seems like they squandered an opportunity.
Kevin, just like teams are young and the players have to get experience in certain situations, so do coaches staff and the plays that they call. The Kansas coaches will go back and look at that situation and try to improve their play calling situation next time they have it.
All right, so they're growing up at Kansas. They're all grown up for Ohio State. Buckeyes undefeated, and they were taking on Northwestern this afternoon, a team they've beaten 20 straight times. Same kind of flavor this afternoon for John Teeter's team. Joe Montgomery gets outside, and Kellen, this just bothers you, doesn't it?
What happened to the art of tackling? Too many art people trying to strip the ball.
Ohio State up 17-7. Buckeyes up 29-10. Joe Germain looking at this is a tasty combination.
David Boston makes the quarterback look good. Confidence. The quarterback having the receiver to put the ball by the post. Go get it.
Always the receiver.
Always the receiver. Never the quarterback.
2 touchdowns for Boston. Ohio State rolls 36-10. UCLA, the number 2 ranked team in the land in Berkeley this afternoon. Kate McDowell looking at Kellen. You love this kind of catch.
Sacrifice, give up your body concentration. He ran to the ball and made the catch. Didn't stop running.
That was Brian Polly Dixon later in the fourth quarter. Bruins get tricky. If you think it's butter, but it's not, Kellen.
You got some talent in the corner. The running back will throw the ball. Take advantage of the Golden Bears bit on the face.
28-16, the final score in UCLA rolls. Meanwhile, Alabama and Tennessee breaking tradition of playing on the fourth Saturday in October. Team Martin, all good.
He's come on. He's really come on. He gets better every week, and that's what you're looking for. Feel very happy about that. But the special teams really come on. Watch this kick off. The nice wedge blocking up front. People sacrificing, giving up their bodies. Ignore that flag that came out of the stands. Peerless pride goes all the way.
Okay, just the third player in Tennessee history to return a kickoff for 100 yards. 35-18, the final score. They are still the Tennessee Volunteers. So are the Kansas State Wildcats. They roll over Iowa State.
I think there might be a change if they continue to lose this rate. They may be replacing their head coach. That's from the rumor mill.
Okay, thank you. Now let's get from the reality mill. BCS poll comes out on Monday. Any surprises?
No, I think we're going to find UCLA and Ohio State at number 1. Not much of a difference. Tennessee's going to be number 3 and Kansas State number 4. The surprise might be as Kansas State gets down into the season, and even if they beat Nebraska, they still might not have a legitimate shot at being number 1 or number 2. But Kevin, Tennessee may be the only team undefeated when that final ranking comes out.
Oh, wise one. Your prediction.
I looked at the schedule, and that's what I come up with.
Okay, let's look ahead and see what we come up with. More scores and highlights. Plus, there's going to be a second half of football, a good one. Kansas leads Colorado. It's a surprise. We'll be back with more scores and highlights in a moment.
This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming, track and field. Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics formed a winning partnership. Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life.
At American Century, our fund managers know the importance of taking a long-term view. It's called being fully invested. So if the market starts to get a little uncertain, a little out of control, or even, dare we say it, downright turbulent, our fund so you can still have the potential to take advantage of market opportunities and be on top. So call us. We're raring to go.
Call 1-800-660-0092.
It's 50 Car Rentals' 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. When you rent a car at Thrifty, you drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
Here's the idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Dad, come early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello? May I help you?
If I wanted a while, but no tickets, that wouldn't be a problem. But when we get to hear you sing...
No, you get to hear us sing.
If I want my value green instead of fried, is that a problem?
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
It's HBO.
Randy Moss and the Vikings take on the Lions. Bears battle the Oilers. Fox NFL Sunday on Fox Station. Welcome to the Fox Sports Net Marion Halftime Report.
A monstrous upset brewing in Lawrence, Kansas, with the Jayhawks leading Colorado 7-7 at the break. Speaking of monstrous upsets, let's get back. Old video. 1978, the Missouri Tigers going to Lincoln in the big tight end, Kellen Winslow leading the way. Wilder finishing the deal. That's manly. That is manly. Wilder into the end zone. The Tigers knock off the Huskers 35-31. 78 the last time the Missouri upset beat Nebraska.
Just beat Nebraska. It's a long, dry spell. We can still beat them. It's just a long, dry spell for the Missouri Tigers, but we'll see today if they get a chance to beat Nebraska. We will see. Could they beat Nebraska? There's a possibility.
That's why we're going to show you the highlight. Number 19 Missouri taking on number 7 Nebraska. Second quarter in. Maybe a little Kellen Winslow magic working here. Steve Erickson. He looks like Winslow. Picks up 41-yard touchdown. That's Missouri. Up 6-3 early. The Cornhuskers go to the senior leadership of Monty Cristo. He scores the touchdown, then laid down by 7. Missouri can't do a thing with the ball.
On the last looking in end zone for the wide receiver, but they don't run the route into the end zone. They come up short. He's waiting for them. The timing is off. Corbett Jones down on the field.
Larry Smith has the field snake bitten. 20-13 the final score. Florida State and Georgia Tech, the only unbeaten team in ACC play. Phillip Rogers. Jump. The touchdown to Tech up 7-0. Final play of the first quarter. You gotta like this, Kelly.
Peter Word. Bobby told Peter, the longer you stay here with me, the more money you're going to make at Florida State. I mean, that's in the NFL.
Well, he will make a big salary one day, but this is a great game. 7-7, even, and all of a sudden the ACC doesn't belong to Florida State like it once did.
No, Georgia Tech is playing great football, and we know about Carolina State. And the things that they're doing. When Florida State joined this conference, they just dominated the whole thing. Everybody thought ACC was a basketball conference. The people in the SEC recruiting-wise would tell the folks, hey, you're not a basketball player, you're a football player. Play the SEC, but that's no longer the case.
Things change in ACC country. Still more scores and highlights to get to. You're watching the Marion Halftime Report. We're going to check in on the Heisman frontrunner, Ricky Williams. An injury report on Ricky. That's coming up in a moment.
Tell you what I do. Building a house really is quality and finance rate. So naturally, we got the best truck at the best deal. Ford Explorer.
truck season. 1-9 financing saved over $2,100 in interest.
Yeah, we should save that on the house.
People can't stop singing after Ford truck season. Come on, we're getting crazy. That's the best Brooks truck here in Nashville. Truck season.
So, you thought you knew everything about the Sicilian, huh? Well, I got news for you. Now it's in a whole nother league. This is the Supreme Sicilian. This is Ken Griffey giving a baseball a facial. This is enough basil, oregano, and garlic in a crust to drop your carcass to the canvas. This is enough toppings to draw a flag for piling on. This is the Supreme Sicilian Pizza. Just $8.99. But pretty soon this deal's gonna be going. Pizza Hut, the best pizzas under one roof.
For delivery in Metro Denver, call 751-1111.
It's a wireless jungle out there, but VoiceStream gives you more. Free national digital roaming for 6 months.
Hi, honey. I'm running a little late.
Or free weekends for 6 months.
Dinner. Chicken. Hold on. I don't think I'm going to get out until late.
Call now, 1-888-3. So get VoiceStream and get more for life.
Hello.
We lived with my parents for 6 months before we found our first house. Finding the home insurance was easier. Shelter insurance has been part of our family for years, and Dad said their claim service is the best.
We found a house.
I just hope this move isn't premature. Shelter insurance will always be there for you.
Bigger savings. Want to save like never before? Then this is the event for you. Check out these big savings on all new 98. Your Toyota dealer will match your cash down payment up to $750. Then apply your $750 cash back through Toyota. Bring your total down payment to $2,250. And that's on all new 98 Camrys, Corollas, Avalons, RAV4s, and 4Runners. Count on great savings now. See your Greater Denver Toyota dealer. Sale ends October 24th.
Welcome back to the Fox Sports Net Marriott Halftime Report.
Kansas winless so far in Big 12 action. They sure did pick a good time to start playing well. They lead number 17 Colorado 10-7 at the half. Kevin Frazier, Kellen Winslow in your College Football Saturday studios. Let's head now and check in on some of the Heisman front runners, and we'll start with the main man, Ricky Williams. Bevo. This is not the kind of play that Bevo likes to see. First quarter, no score. Major Applewhite picked off by Rodney Smith, and the defender running like a running back.
Late throw, you got to throw the ball early and don't throw it at all.
Baylor up 7-0 at that point. Then this is bad news for Texas. Ricky Williams left the game before the half with an injured right foot. We'll try to update that for you later. Right now, the Longhorns lead Baylor 8-7 at the break. Texas A&M is a perfect 4-0 in the Big 12 South. Dante Hall's 1-yard run. The difference in this game is they win 17-10. Wisconsin gets its first win in 21 years at Iowa. Rondé, 36 rushes, 159 yards. Georgia and Kentucky. And Kentucky missed a last-second field goal attempt. Georgia escapes with the win. And Kellen, Tim Count putting up the big numbers, but you are not completely sold on that quarterback.
No, I'm not. Because when you evaluate a quarterback, Kevin, you take a look at his touchdown to interception ratio. Just like in baseball, strikeouts to walk. In baseball, you want to be 3-1. In football, you like it to be more like 4 touchdowns for every interception. Right now, 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, well below that ratio. And interceptions always hurt you.
All right. And from Kellen's rumor mill, Hal Mumme may be headed to Auburn.
It's a possibility.
Okay. You are watching the Marriott halftime report. We're at the break. In Kansas, the Jayhawks getting it done despite their number one quarterback going down. We'll be back.
Happy birthday. Oh, good. Where's Danny? Come on, play with me.
About to change the way you feel about driving on ice. Ice Rink to show you a breakthrough in tire technology. Zach Tice Tire. The first winter tire with a bridgestone patented self-compound design that lets snow and stick to ice. In fact, at only 30 miles per hour, a set of Blizzak be shorter than a set of popular all-season radials. Blizzak from Bridgestone. If you're not using them, you. Available at these fine Bridgestone retailers.
Value starts at Checker. Finding your problem to supplying the top quality starter, alternator, or electrical accessory you need to solve. Checker.
Hi, everybody. Mark McIntosh for Boulder Toyota Volvo. Now is the time to visit us at the corner of Foothill and Pearl and Boulder. We have got great value on our 98 Volvo Closeout. While they last. C70, cross country, S70, mini price below factory invoice. Look around for that best deal, but then make that short money-saving drive to Boulder Toyota Volvo. Home of rock solid satisfaction, rock bottom prices, and value on Volvo.
So I've been seeing these ads. Satellite TV, a gazillion channels for one amazing low price. Well, guess what? There is no amazing low price. I checked it out. First, they tell me I gotta get all this stuff. Then I gotta pay for installation. Not cheap. And on top of all that, I still have to pay for programming. And if I want separate equipment for each TV, that could cost several $100s more. Satellite TV? No thanks. I'll keep my cable.
Cable TV, the best value in home entertainment.
You're watching Sports with Rocky Mountain.
Kansas leads 10-7 at the half. Is this going to be an upset?
I think it's possible. What Kansas has to do is what they did in the first half, play emotional football. They can keep that momentum going. Colorado could be looking at their first loss in the Big 8.
All right. Meanwhile, Ricky Williams will play in the second half for Texas. Just want to let you know about that. Almost signed after the second half in Lawrence. So let's head back to Kansas. Ron Poole and Artie Kino are standing by. Here's the Marriott halftime report.
In 1616, John Davies wrote, "Beauty's but skin deep." Too bad he never walked across KU's campus. A beautiful setting for some of the nation's top faculty and students. The University of Kansas, a beautiful place to learn.
At Centennial Price of Plymouth, we got two sales in one. Our final 98 closeout sale and our first sale on 99. Both mean great deal and duck deal, so you don't have to sell for somebody's take it or leave it price. A deal and duck deal beats anybody's one price. Grand Cherokee 25,888. Convertible 21,988. Plus the new 99 Grand Cherokee 19 finance. Rebates up to 2,000 and top dollar for your trade. One price doesn't mean the best price because nobody beats a deal and duck deal. Nobody. See us now. Centennial Price of Plymouth cheap. Arapahoe Road East.
Is TCI your cable company? Well, it's mine too. It's my job to help make it a better one. It's simple, really. We listen to what you want. Then we do our best to make it happen. So you want more from our cable company? You got it.
We know you want more quality and more variety. That is why we added digital cable here at TCI. I hope you enjoy this new service, and we thank you for being a TCI customer.
Checker sells more brand name fluids and automotive chemicals than anyone in the West. Buy two frame oil filters and get Pennzoil for just 79 cents with coupon and case purchase. Checker.
Who can you
count on for big savings? Your Toyota dealer. Want to save like never before? Check out these big savings on Tacoma. Right now, you can get $1,000 cash back on rugged new Tacomas. 4x4s, 4x2s, regular cabs, extra cabs. Take your pick and make your best deal. That $1,000 is yours. Save it, spend it, use it for your down payment. Whatever you do, don't miss this event. See your Greater Denver Toyota dealer today.
Watched a lot of games. When's about time you played one? I'm Bill Dwyer. Join me for the Ultimate Fan League. Weeknights, 5:30 and 12:30.
It has begun to rain in Lawrence, Kansas, but it has been showers of blessings for the Jayhawks in the first half as they lead the Colorado Buffaloes 10-7 along with Artie Gigantino and Eric Clemens. I'm Ron Thulin. The big play in the first half came on the ground.
Now watch the blocking up front here by the right tackle, Mike Leach. He's going to come down, he's going to block here. Him and Justin Glasgow, the right guard, do a great job. It's a zone play. It's a little handoff to David Winbush. But also watch downfield. Number two, Brian Gasaway, come into your picture and throw a key block right there. And Winbush, all he needs is a little seed, and he is off to the races. Just a great execution out there.
Ball is loose. And Kansas has the football. My goodness. Kicking away from Ben Kelly. They kicked it short. And Tyrus Fontenot comes up with it. A reserve fullback.
Well, that's really smart. Why give Kelly the ball? Now you're going to see Brady McDonald, who's not used to catching the ball because he's a defensive end. He tries to fair catch it. Fontenot falls on it. Great job because what you're doing, you're kicking a pop fly to a defensive end.
Kansas with great field position operating with a short field. It is Winbush. Left side. Continue to assault that left side of the Colorado line. Michael Lewis runs him out of bounds. Eric Clemens on the sideline.
Well, I talked to Rick Neuheisel coming out of the dressing room just before the second half, and Neuheisel told me a couple things. He told his team not to panic, that they have to shore up their tackling on the defensive end. They've been in this kind of situation before in close conference games, and it looks like they're going to be in another one tonight, but Coach Neuheisel says his team has the wherewithal to win it, guys.
Pick up of 23, 140 yards rushing for David Winbush tonight. First and goal, ball on the 10. Winbush again. Just jumping around inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Take a look at the numbers from the first half, and there's the key stat rushing.
Yeah, the big key stat is right here. And if I were Rick Neuheisel, I might want to panic a little bit because he's turned the ball over twice here, and he cannot give Kansas the football here in the second half because they've already had a turnover here in the second half. So three already for the game. I think it's okay to panic a little bit at halftime when the team is running the ball at you as successfully as Kansas has at Colorado.
And they're going over that left side of the offensive line of Kansas, right up the middle. Winbush! Touchdown, Kansas!
You know, the offensive line is doing a great job, but this guy right here, number 22, hits the hole so quick, it's very difficult to tackle. Now watch Brandon Southworth. Parks comes off the ball and just gets into Southworth's face, and that is the key block. Great job again by the offensive line.
Second touchdown for David Winbush this evening. And the extra point is good. They haven't beaten Colorado in Lawrence in a long time. Winbush trying to change all that.
Hi, I'm expecting a fax.
Room 212 wants the ammunition to deal with her toughest client.
Nothing? Hi, Davies 212. I called earlier.
Why, fax? It hasn't come yet.
I need for a meeting.
Excuse me, Miss Davies? Kate just came in.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Business services by Marriott. When you're comfortable, you can do anything.
When the night has come and the land is done.
The Sabre is built to help keep you safe, secure, and comfortable. And now you can feel even more
receive $2,000 cash back on America's best-selling full-size car, LeSabre by Buick.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Dad, home early. Hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
The fumble by Colorado leads to the touchdown by Kansas.
Well, the trick in football is to take advantage of the turnovers. Now watch Parks here. He's going to come off and block southward. It's the exact same play with the fullback in the backfield, 33 north, as Winbush scored on before. It's a little bit of a delayed draw.
Another pooch kick. This time it goes out of bounds, and Colorado will probably take it first and 10 from their own 35-yard line. The penalty flags are thrown. Zach Wagner was injured in the ball game. Coaches told us we don't have a whole lot of quarterback if he goes down. They were mistaken. Jay Alexander hadn't played in 2.5 years. Went to Independence Junior College after graduating from Independence High School in Kansas. Didn't play football. Walked on here. And he has led them to the lead after the 32-yard three-play drive here to open up the second half.
Hang around in Lawrence because there'll be a full-blown quarterback controversy if Kansas holds on to win this game. And believe me, that was one of the knocks on Wagner, that he was 3-10 as a starter.
Peak and Sherrington in the backfield. Marlon Barnes injured in the first half for Colorado, is not playing. Sherrington dancing around, crosses the 40 up to the 42-yard line. Pick up a 7 on the play. Stopped by Mohamed Abdul-Rahim. Kansas last week gave up a bunch of yards to Nebraska.
Yeah, a whole bunch. It was a tough game. Obviously, we were there, but Nebraska just pounded the football inside against them. And as you can see tonight, it's 17-7. They did not get on the scoreboard last week in Lincoln.
High formation on 2nd and 3. Machete with the option, pitches it back to Sherrington, running room. Into Kansas territory down to the 48-yard line. Michael Allen, the senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. 31 tackles the last 2 games, comes up with a stop on Sherrington.
Well, one of the things they want to do at Colorado is run some option tonight. They haven't been running it as much this year as they have in the past because, again, they're afraid of getting their quarterback hurt. As you said, Michael Allen just made a great play from that safety position, coming over and hitting Sherrington in the alley.
Very important possession for the Buffaloes. Machete play-action pass. Keeps it. Down to the 40-yard line, he takes the shoulder. Pick up about 8 on the play.
Good job by the secondary from Kansas that time. Machete on a bootleg, looking down the field, had nobody to throw to. Dick Mosley, experienced veteran coach, he coaches the secondary at the University of Kansas. He's one of the great secondary coaches in the country today.
Now, they were looking for run support from their secondary the last couple of weeks. They got it on that play. Second down, we'll call it 4. Sherrington spinning. And he is not going to go a whole lot of places. Maybe a pickup of a half a yard.
Some missed blocks on that play. What's happening here tonight is Kansas has got this offensive line from Colorado confused. Because Kansas is a 3-4 team, but tonight they're substituting Jeremy Hannick, number 95, and they've been in a 4-man front most of the evening, as you see right here. There's 4 guys lined up on the defensive line, and that's confusing this Colorado offensive line.
Third down and 4. Pass is complete to Darren Cheverini and another first down.
Well, guess who on third down?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Just go to the guy you know is going to catch the football.
Cheverini going over 1,000 yards receiving tonight for his career. Darren Cheverini at 6'2", 210 pounds. He has increased his speed. He has increased his weight. He's done everything the coaches have asked him to do at that wide receiver spot.
His twin brother is a backup free safety here for Colorado.
Ryan Cheverini. First and 10, ball on the 33. Machete out of the flat, pass is incomplete. In and out of the hands of Robert Toller.
That was a long throw. Machete was on the left hash mark. He threw the ball completely across the field to the right out of bounds area. So that was a long throw for him.
It is homecoming in Lawrence, Kansas, and we're at Memorial Stadium in Lawrence, along with Eric Clemens and Artie Gigantino. I'm Ron Thulin. Kansas has won 6 of their last 7 homecoming games, but they have lost 3 straight this year, and they're trying to snap a skid against Colorado. We're in the third quarter, 11:29 to play. Cheverini dancing around. They hand it off to Damian Burton. Barton dumped immediately. Damian Barton got a start last week, so before the game he couldn't even sleep. He was so nervous. But he just said he did a good job, but he has to realize he can't run out and run by everybody. He's got to run through some people every now and then.
That was a great job that time by John Williams, number 59, the nose guard. He just came into the backfield, beat a block, and made the play in the backfield. Great technique by the big guy, 6'2", 300-pounder.
Third down and 10. Two wide receivers to the right, looking for Cheverini in the middle. Machete is flushed out of the pocket, looks at the first down and gets it.
They kept him in the pocket that time, but sometimes when a defensive lineman goes to make a pass rush move, it ends up opening up a seam. That's exactly what happened that time. Now watch here. Machete's going to drop back, but watch the defensive end on top go there, and the defensive tackle come inside. There ends up being a passing lane. He looks downfield, it's cover 2, it's too deep. There's nowhere to throw the football, but he's going to take advantage of the seam in the alley that opens up inside there. Pass rush lane, difficult to keep and difficult to coach.
Good drive by the Colorado offense. On first and 10, they keep it on the ground. Carrington spinning his way down to the block and lost the football, but the ground caused that. Patrick Brown on the stop. Carrington showing some happy feet here in the third quarter.
One thing about backs sometimes when they're injured, they get a chance to rest. They come into the football game, they're fresh. Right now, Wayne Carrington looks fresh to me, a lot like Marvin Barnes did at the beginning of the game.
And it'll be first and goal. The ball sits on the 5-yard line. Colorado answering the challenge here in the third quarter after they fumbled the opening kickoff. Kansas took it in, taking a 10-point advantage. Carrington left side. He's going to be done. Deion Rayford makes the stop.
I really like this guy, Rayford. He's from West Valley Junior College in Saratoga, California. A friend of Dana Field, ex-alum here at the University of Kansas. Now he's right here. Watch him. He's going to come across the line of scrimmage and make the play. It's a good job by him, beating the block, getting up the field, and keeping his feet moving. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, but he is an athlete that can run. Really like the potential of this young man.
Loss of 4. The ball is back to the 9. Colorado likes to go to the right side of the red zone, and they do now. Penalty flag is thrown. If he scores, it won't count. Carrington knocked out at the 2-yard line.
Machete's pointing against Kansas.
I think it's right. I think
Rayford jumped offside. He was going to stunt to the inside. Just was a little bit too quick. It's a hard adjustment for a player to come from the junior college to play Big 12. That's exactly what happened. Watch him right here, the right defensive end. He's got to look at the ball. He's moving inside on the stem, but he goes a little bit too quick. His adrenaline was so high because he had made a great play the play before. Hey, Big Deion, you just got to calm down a little bit.
Elliott, 22 sacks last year in junior college, has only 1 sack this year.
And Ardell Weekend, the defensive coordinator, was talking about him. It's difficult for him to come in and adjust to playing 300 pounds each and every week. So that slowed him down a little bit. But that being said, he's still an athlete.
Second down. They put it on the 4. Second and goal. Sherrington cuts back right, looking for running room, slices down the 1-yard line, and it'll be third and goal from the 1. J.J. Johnson on the stop along with Jamie Harris. This week on Fox NFL Sunday, the undefeated Minnesota Vikings will head to Motown, where the Lions, coming off their big win over the Pack, look for their second straight victory over a tough division opponent. Plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. Check your local listing. And that's how far they have to go, about 1.5 yards. 12 of the play of the drive.
Doesn't seem like much, but it's a long way.
Machete on the option, keeps it, touchdown Colorado.
The reason you run the option play inside the 20 in the red zone is because most defensive teams play some variation of man-to-man coverage. It's difficult to stop the option with man-to-man. Somebody's got to come up the field, take the pitch man, account for a possible player, but also account for the quarterback. Excellent call. Most people do it against man-to-man coverage inside the 20.
Jeremy Aldridge's extra point makes it a 3-point game once again. 8:43 left to play in quarter number 2. Colorado answers the bell here in the third. Mike Machete takes it in from 1.5 yards out. We have a 17-14 game.
This year, Big 12 athletes are lining up, not only on the field of play, but to support another group of athletes, Special Olympians. Each year, athletes, coaches, and administrators from across the conference participate in a variety of Special Olympic activities, from tennis to swimming to track and field. The Big 12 Conference and Special Olympics formed a winning partnership. Special Olympics and the Big 12 Conference, a partnership for life. You may think you're dreaming, but it's true. La Pinta is a great place for lunch as well as breakfast. With delicious sandwiches, salads, soups, pasta, and more. Plus La Pinta's famous breakfast items anytime. Many for less than $5. So come discover why the next best thing to breakfast at La Pinta is lunch at La Pinta.
It's evening on Lincoln Junction, and the lights are going on because two generations ago, your friends and neighbors built an electric co-op. Since then, we've kept the power flowing steadily to your growing community. Now, local co-ops are joining other co-ops to form a nationwide alliance, Touchstone Energy, to ensure state-of-the-art technology at an affordable price. It's the power of human connections.
United Power, providing reliable electric service to Colorado customers for over 60 years.
Coyotes Evelyn, Monday at 6:30 on Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
Kansas by a field goal as two former quarterbacks going at each other tonight. Now in head coaching positions, Rick Neuheisel, of course, for Colorado, Terry Allen for Kansas.
Both guys run their respective offenses. They're both offensive coaches that spend a lot of time with the quarterbacks. Good young guys, and I think it gives this conference, the Big 12, a lot of energy. Guys like this are head coaches because they're both very good recruiters, too.
High short kick. The up man will take it. Drop down right away. Tyrus Fontenot again with the catch on the kick. And Terry Allen, Eric Clemens, you're on the sideline. He's going to be tired after this game.
He certainly is. During that last Colorado march, Terry Allen was the head cheerleader running up and down the sideline shouting encouragement. He even tried to get some body English in there toward the goal line when Machete went in. It did not work, but his team is still up by 3, and he's going to be a definite emotional wreck after this one, guys.
You know, Eric, this is a big game for him, and he knows it because he's 0-5 in the Big 12, and you certainly don't want to be 0-6, but he felt he had a chance to win this game. So you're absolutely right, Eric. He is totally involved in this game.
That was offside. Oh, sorry, Eric. It is offside against Colorado. They'll re-kick.
And Wally re-kick, absolutely. I mean, in most of his conference games, take away the Nebraska game, this guy's been close, seen his team play well, especially against A&M, but no cigar.
And you know, when you get beat by Nebraska 41-0, it's very difficult to come back and coach. You can either be angry, you can throw the video away and be upbeat, which is exactly what he did this week. They spent very little time on Nebraska and said, hey, we're going to win these next couple of games for our seniors and get something going in terms of building the foundation for the next couple of years here at Kansas. And I think he's doing that. It might not show this year in W's and L, but I think this man is building this program properly. He's got a good staff around him. He's doing a good job in a place that, quote, has a reputation for being a basketball school.
His enthusiasm is very, very contagious. All his coaches have it. Winbush. Up to the 30. Still on his feet as he crosses the 35 up to the 36-yard line. Jeremy Aldridge made the stop, the kicker. And that is where Kansas will take over. First and 10. Heisman candidate Cade McNown and the number 2 ranked Bruins host Stanford at the Rose Bowl. The Pac-10 shootout in Pasadena coming your way next Saturday at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, only on FX.
UCLA's on fire. I don't know if Stanford's defense can stop him.
Jay Alexander, a quarterback, handing to Winbush. One move to the outside, still on his feet. Kelly has to wrap him up, but not before he gets another first down and a pickup of 11. Let's send it over to Kevin Frazier for a Dr. Pepper game break.
Speaking of running backs, guys, let's update you on Ricky Williams. He had a problem with his right foot early in the game. Now he's back and having a problem with the Baylor defense. Texas leading by a point, 8-7. Artie, if this guy's hurt, it must be lights out for Texas.
Yes, it is, because he is the Texas offense, and a lot of the play-action passes that they throw at the University of Texas come out of fakes to Ricky Williams. So if he's not 100%, that's a lot of problems for the University of Texas.
Kansas has called a timeout with 8 minutes left to play in quarter, leading by 3. David Winbush coming into tonight. We knew he had some talent, but how about 161 yards rushing already this evening?
You know what? This guy is hard to block because you never know where he's going. Now watch Tremaine Fulton right there. That is so smart because he doesn't know where Winbush is going, and he almost clipped Ben Kelly. But what he does, he pulls up on the block, and Winbush gets positive yards. Even though Kelly made the tackle, it wasn't a penalty. It's hard sometimes. It's good and bad. It's hard to block for little guys like that because you never know where they're going. That's the bad news. The good news is he makes a lot of yards. And Tremaine Fulton just made a real heads-up play.
Al Winbush, just the sophomore out of Killeen, Texas. Coaches felt they wanted to get him more opportunities. He's getting the opportunity tonight, and he's taking advantage of it.
Well, you're a highly recruited guy. Daryl Wyatt, the wide receiver coach, is also from Killeen, knew about him, went down there, liked him, gave him a scholarship, and the rest is history.
First and 10. Penalty flags are thrown. Up to the 50-yard line, but it looks like Colorado may have jumped a little too soon.
Well, they did. That time, Jay Alexander had a non-rhythmic cadence, a little delay in this cadence. It drew the Colorado front offsides.
That is the 8th penalty against the Bucks tonight.
You know what the killer is for them? A lot of them are on defense.
On the defense, 5 yards in the previous spot. Repeat first down. First and 5.
161 yards rushing tonight. He's already cracked his career high, and he has 7:54 and a third to go.
You know, he's in a zone, so to speak, tonight. It seems like every time he touches the ball, he finds a hole. He's got excellent vision. You look at him, Ron. He's a small Barry Sanders type. If you really want to look at him and compare him to somebody.
Well, he's quick. Alexander throws out the flat. Pass is complete to Eric Harrison. Right out of bounds. Little extracurricular. No flag is thrown. And it will be another Kansas Jayhawk first down. Alexander can't throw the football. When he was at Independence High School in Independence, Kansas, he threw for over 7,500 yards, 71 touchdowns. He holds the state high school record throwing the football. He was all-state football and baseball.
Why does a guy like that not play football when he comes out of high school? He took a year off. He went to junior college for a year. What's he doing?
He didn't even play there.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He sat out for 2 years. You think a guy like that would have been very highly recruited?
Dustin Curry, the tailback, and he has the football. Blast on the right side. The pads are popping as he keeps his feet. Finally being brought down after a pickup of about a yard. Nick Ziegler on the stop, the senior out of Huntington Beach, California.
One of the things you want to do with a guy like Curry is what they were doing with Mitch Bowles. He's a bigger guy. It's a different tempo than Wimbush. As we look at Ziegler and we look at Curry. Curry's a converted fullback, so you know he's got the frame to be able to take the pounding.
Terry Allen said, I'd love to rush for 150 yards a game. Terry's ecstatic tonight.
He's got to be.
He's rushed for 159, and we still have a quarter and a half to go. Second and 9. Alexander feels the pressure. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Michael Chandler. Threw it behind him. Intended for Chandler.
Well, that's one of the few mistakes or one of the few errors that Alexander has committed tonight, and he knows it. He's not smiling right there. Go back in the huddle, call the next play, and be ready to go.
Wimbush comes back in the lineup along with Byron Gassaway.
Watch for Gassaway because every time he's been in the game, something around him is happening. They throw the football to him. As we look at the total yards here, Colorado with 295, Kansas with 245. But that 159 rushing is the big stat for Kansas.
Third down and 9 from the shotgun. Pressure's coming. Alexander takes a hit. Right at the 50-yard line. That'll be a loss of 11 on the play. He got buried by Fred Jones. That is Jones' sack number 5.5 for him this season.
He's a guy that missed last year. He was suspended. He is an athlete. He's a rush defensive end. A guy who can rush the passer in any situation. 6'3", 245. He looks like a linebacker. He's extremely athletic.
That is now 12 sacks in the last 3 games for Colorado. Matt Tyler, a nice high kick. Caught right at the 15-yard line. The punt is 34 yards, but it's inside the 20. We'll step aside with 6:16 left in the third. Kansas by a field goal.
Why do I rent from Enterprise? Very simple. No stress. They arranged to pick me up free, so I don't have to ask anyone for a ride. See? No stress. Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line. So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
That's Pomerly. Hello? Anybody here? Hello? Enterprise, rent a car for my trip? Looks expensive.
Not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
It's not expensive. Why didn't I get a convertible?
Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Watched a lot of games. About time you played one. Join me for the Ultimate Fan League. Weeknights at 5:30 and 12:30.
College Football Saturday is back. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Fox Sports Net has the Governor covered. Heisman hopefuls, championship contenders. Classic rivalries, epic battles, elite conferences, Pac-10 and Big 12. College Football Saturday, all season long on Fox Sports Rocky Mountain.
Now American Century Mutual Funds presents the Play of the Century. 1992 Peach Bowl. East Carolina trails North Carolina State 34-17. 8:41 on the clock. After running the ball in for a touchdown, Pirates quarterback Jeff Blake takes control and finds Deion Johnson. Blake then fired another touchdown to Luke Fisher, the Cinderella team of the season. East Carolina sneaks by the Wolfpack 37-34 in one of the greatest comebacks in Peach Bowl history. Back to live action. Dwayne Sherrington hit by Nate Dwyer, the redshirt freshman out of Stillwater, Minnesota.
You know, this gentleman up here, Ardell Wiegand, is the defensive coordinator. He's the guy right behind the post. He's a veteran, 31 years of coaching. He's the head coach of Calgary in the Canadian Football League. The coach of the Buffalo Bills. And he's a refreshing guy, Ron, to talk to, isn't he? I mean, a guy that just tells you exactly what's on his sleeve. But he's a resilient man, and I think this defense from Kansas reflects his personality.
A loss of 11. Machete steps up. Crosses the 25 up to the 27-yard line. I should have said loss of 1. It was 2nd and 11, and he got the first down. One thing that Ardell Wiegand keeps saying is he wants to stay in the game long enough.
Well, he's staying in the game long enough so far, but again, Machete's dropping back. He doesn't see anything. They're in zone defense. But what Brad, number 54's got to do, he's got to come up and balance down. If you overcommit to a slippery guy, an elusive guy like Machete, you're not going to tackle. Big Steve's got to come up and break down a little bit more. He knows it.
Patrick Brown missed the tackle. It would have been about a 4-yard gain. Vivian Sherrington in the backfield. It's Sherrington. Does not get to the 30-yard line. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage before Michael Allen makes the stop. Bratton is such a big addition. Him coming back from that injury forced him to miss the Nebraska game.
Well, he willed himself to play in this game. He hobbled around all week. We watched practice on Thursday, and it didn't look like this guy could run full speed. But he's the heart and soul of this defense. He calls the defense. He makes the adjustments at the line of scrimmage. He's a true grizzled veteran and a warrior for Kansas.
Second down and 9. Sherrington, left side, up to the 35-yard line. Pick up a 6 on the play. And Bratton has a presence in the huddle. I think in defense, and you were the defensive coordinator of teams, that is so important, is it not to have the one guy that's going to take control.
Well, you want to coach on the field, and that's what Steve Bratton gives Ardell Wiegand, the defensive coordinator. Confidence, presence, but a voice like a coach in the huddle.
Third down and 4. Collado yet to punt in this football game. Everybody is standing in Memorial Stadium. Machete. First down, Colorado, complete to Javon Green. Green, who had a little run-in with Rick Neuheisel last week during the Texas Tech game. The player said it was absolutely nothing, but he is a fiery competitor.
Okay, what you're going to see, it's a three-step drop, and you're going to see Green, number 19, fight to the inside and come right underneath the zone. Kansas did not blitz. They were not playing man-to-man coverage. They were playing a too-deep zone, and Green found his way in. As we take a look at Mike Machete, who got knocked down after that pass was thrown.
Adam Bledsoe, brother of Drew Bledsoe, is the backup quarterback. We saw him come into the Baylor game.
You're going to see here now, Machete drops back. He looks for Green. He takes the ball. He delivers it. But after he delivers it, legally, I might add, he gets knocked down. It looks like it was Deion Rayford again. And that's 250 pounds laying on top of him. And as we've talked about this entire game, Mike Machete gets hit a lot.
It's unlike any other. That's when it's love. That's when it's Dr. Pepper.
Room 1203 wants to surf without flippies. Marriott's comfortable, you can do anything.
Quickly updating you on other games, other scores. Number 12, Oregon playing without their leading rusher, Ruben Drones. It's okay because Akili Smith is taking care of business against USC. Mr. Smith finds a hole and he's headed to the end zone. 62 yards for the touchdown. Oregon SC 17-10.
Thank you, Kevin Frazier. In our situation, we have Mike Machete down on the field. We've already had one quarterback knocked out. Zach Wagner, the starting quarterback for Kansas, out with a concussion, now in street clothes. Machete is down, not moving a whole lot. As soon as we get an update on his condition, we'll pass it along to you. But his backup is Adam Bledsoe, a sophomore out of Yakima, Washington, at 6'5", 230 pounds. He does have experience. We saw him in the Baylor game, Artie. They were trailing in the game. He came up with a huge third down pass to Darren Cheverini, which led to the winning field goal.
Yeah, he's got a better arm than Machete. There's no question about that. He's just not a polished quarterback in terms of being in the game and having game experience. It looks like Mike Machete's gotten dinged a little bit because they're talking to him, and again, it looks like a type of concussion. I hate to speculate on injuries, but that's what it looks like. The way they're talking to him, they're being very slow and helping him up. Let's hope that is not the case.
Well, Mike Machete was having a pretty good night outside of a couple of picks tonight.
Well, he does a lot of things. He does a good job of ball handling. He throws the ball well, especially underneath. He can get on the perimeter. He can take a hit, which has happened to him a bunch of times tonight. But he can also turn a potential negative play into a positive with his escapability.
Well, he did it last week against Texas Tech on a big third down play. He got out, but we had been speculating for the last couple of weeks. When will all the hits that this young man has taken in the last few games, when will it take its toll?
Again, he's not very big. You're going to see Bledsoe. He's 6'5", 230 pounds. He's the biggest quarterback in the history of Colorado. Machete is 5'10", 195, maybe 190 pounds. His body just cannot take that many hits, especially the type of hits that we have seen this year. He's a gutsy guy that this football team is 6-1 because this football team has rallied around this guy.
We were talking to Rick Neuheisel yesterday. Said pound for pound, is he the toughest quarterback in college football? He said, I'm not going to argue that. And now it is Adam Bledsoe's turn. Jay Alexander has stepped in for Kansas. Can Bledsoe do likewise for Colorado? Sherrington. Tim Bowers makes the stop. Will they keep it simple with Bledsoe?
I think you have to. What you want to do with Bledsoe is hand the ball off as much as possible. Try to establish the running game they so desperately have been searching for all year. And then once in a while, you pass and air it out, and hope a guy like Stiggers can run underneath it and maybe convert it into a big play. I think you got to be simple because you don't want Bledsoe to make a mental mistake that costs you.
Second and 8. Now he's going to air it up right away. And the pass is complete. Penalty flag is thrown in the backfield of Colorado, which means it'll probably be holding. And it is. Rick Neuheisel has to be, the feelings he has to be going through right now. He is very close to Mike Machete. They have become close. You can just see Rick Neuheisel. He's got to block that out of his mind as Machete sits on the sideline trying to clear the cobwebs up.
He's better block it out of his mind because he's got to call the plays along with Carl Durrell. Just make it as simple as you can, like we talked about for Bledsoe. But the offensive line has also got to help because you can't take a completion like that away with another penalty because penalties have become a huge part of this game. It's not even the fourth quarter yet, Ron, and already Colorado's got 9 penalties. But to me, it's never the amount of penalties. It's when they happen after a big game. That's not smart football.
They only had 2 last week. Second down and 20. Ball's on the 31-yard 2:45 to play in the third. Bledsoe has the time. The pass is incomplete, intended for Green.
Bledsoe's a guy that can hang in the pocket. He's a guy that can also throw down the field. Now you're going to see him drop back here, and he does a good job of looking down the field. Kansas is in a 2 deep, which means there's 2 safeties there and 5 guys underneath. I think Bledsoe is expecting man-to-man. He's got really nowhere to throw it, and old Bratton comes across and almost makes the interception. That was just excellent secondary play by Kansas.
Third down and 20 for the Buffaloes. Pressure. Bledsoe steps away. Throws across the field. A dangerous pass incomplete. Intended for Dwayne Charrington.
You see a young quarterback there doesn't know any better. You got to take the ball and run it there. What you don't want to do is stop on the perimeter and throw the football all the way across the field for a 2 or 3 yard gain, because that could be an interception.
This will be the first Colorado punt of the evening. Nick Peak standing back at his own 11-yard line. Kansas, the number 2 punt return team in the NCAA, second only to arch rival Kansas State. Peach into the wind. It'll be Child. Penalty flags thrown all over the place.
Well, that's going to be the halo rule.
I think you're right.
You've got to give the return man 6 feet or 2 yards in which to catch the punt. And that time it just didn't happen. And you know what? It wasn't even close. Damian Barton, number 22, was the man downfield and just didn't see the ball.
5 yards, kick catch interference on the kicking team from the spot of the foul, first down.
And you're going to see it right here. You see Childs come up, but you see number 20. He is right next to him. In fact, he's touching him right there when Childs catches the ball. Cannot do that. I think that's a great rule because it's safety in football. It really has cut down some of the injuries that have happened to punt returns.
It was a 43-yard kick. The penalty will hurt. Talk about an improved offense. Kansas is probably the most improved in all of college football.
You throw a goose egg last week against Nebraska right there because that was up to 33 points a game. So they have improved, and one of the reasons they've improved is that offensive line is playing so much better this year as compared to last year.
2:22 to play in the third. Winbush. Already with 161 yards rushing, picks up a couple more before Justin Bannon and Brandon Sopry combine to make the stop. Haven't called Justin Bannon's name a whole lot tonight. The redshirt freshman out of Fair Oaks, California, at that defensive tackle spot.
He's being handled by these guys up front from the University of Kansas. You look at Bannon, he's out of Sacramento. He was a high school punter. He does karate. He's a very explosive guy. And he is a future star at the University of Colorado.
On 2nd and 6. Alexander locks it up and is going to be incomplete. Penalty flag is thrown. Ben Kelly doesn't like the call already.
Well, it was a fake pattern that time, and Kelly got tangled up with Fulton again. And the way Fulton's jumping up and down, it looks like it's going to be against Ben Kelly.
That is the second time that has happened this evening.
And a guy like Kelly should never commit pass interference, if at all possible, because he is so fast and his recovery speed is so great. Even if he gets beat, he can just turn on the jets and really make up for lost ground. Talented young guy out of Cleveland, Ohio. Not only as a defensive back, but also as a kick returner.
Out of Menor Lake, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland.
A guy that wasn't recruited very much. And it just goes to show you how evaluation in recruiting is more important than the recruitment and the sales itself. Evaluation. The coach from Colorado did a great job of evaluating him.
1st and 10. The ball is moved up to the 49-yard line after the penalty. Play action. Alexander with some time. Now has to scramble leg out. Now he's got some running room and some blockers. Holds on to the ball. The pass is complete to Winbush. He's missed football for 2.5 years. That is great presence in the pocket again.
You know, he looks like John Elway here. He turns completely around and goes to his left, which is difficult for a right-handed thrower. But you see number 73, Damian Hunt, out in front of him, and poise. Alexander just gets the ball to Winbush. It's too bad he didn't see Tremaine Fulton down the field. He was standing all alone on the 2-yard line. It would have been a gimme touchdown.
The numbers on Alexander, 9 for 15, over a field worth of yards, 109.
I wish they would keep track of escapes, for quarterbacks, because he made the play happen by having escapability.
From the 27, it is Winbush, the right side. Inside the 25, down to the 24-yard line. Let's get an update on Colorado quarterback Mike Machete with Eric Clemens.
All right, guys, you noticed earlier that Machete hadn't moved for a few minutes down on the field. It was because he was absolutely unconscious on the field for a little while. Definitely a concussion. Very concerned about him over on the bench. He will not return, so any comebacks by Colorado will likely be led by Adam Bledsoe. Guys?
He still looks like he's not doing so hot. It's going to be a long trip home to Boulder. Second down and 6. Alexander's pass was incomplete. Chandler was the intended receiver. Marcus Washington was on the coverage.
This is an interesting call, because if you're Colorado, you got to expect a pass. And I would think A.J. Kristoff here is going to blitz. See that signal right there? That's a blitz signal. He's coming with between 6 and 8 guys. That's what those 3 fingers are up there, Ron. So look for Colorado to blitz here. But also it's a tough call now for Kansas. Either get out on the perimeter or maybe throw them off by running a screen or a draw.
Second down and 6. Third down and 6, passes complete right at the 25-yard line. Moran Norris on the catch.
A.J. Kristoff that time threw him a curve because he ran zone defense, which is why Alexander had to dump the ball off. He's a cagey vet, A.J., and he even sometimes throws the announcement. But we think we know what's going on.
Well, looks like Kansas will have to try the field goal. It'll be spotted right at the 33-yard line, a 43-yard attempt. Joe Garcia already has a 24-yarder in the book. The kick. And it will split the uprights. Garcia 8 for 11 on the year, and he has given Kansas the lead 20-14 as the third quarter comes to an end. He has the advantage over the number 17 team in the country.
It's Thrifty Car Rental's 40th birthday, so let's get the show on the road. Call 1-800-4CARS. There's something special going on at Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. You rent a car from Thrifty, you get a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Just ask. Rent a car at Thrifty, you'll drive home with a free movie rental from Blockbuster Video. Get the show on the road with Thrifty Car Rental and Blockbuster Video. Call 1-800-4CARS.
At the center of a great PC experience is a Pentium 2 processor. Life isn't just measured in days or years. It's measured in doorways and walkways. Or a favorite sweater long outgrown. At State, we give our policyholders a yardstick of their own. It's called the Family Insurance Checkup. It helps them measure their own needs and pick the coverage that's right for them. So call your agent for a checkup. Because insurance, like other things in life, is something you never want to outgrow.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Dad, come early. Hello? Anybody here? Hello?
20-14, Kansas leading Colorado in an upset. As we begin the fourth quarter of play, Garcia set to kick it away. Kelly and Hollowell back to receive it. And Garcia kicks it straight up in the air. Kelly comes up with it. He is knocked out at about the 33-yard line, and Kansas has had success rushing the football. How have they done that? Here's Artie Chukta.
Well, one of the things Kansas is doing tonight is lining up in a one-back set to bring somebody, usually another tight end, across in motion and spreading out the Colorado defense. And what's happening, they're running the ball up in here to David Winbush. The offensive line is blocking the Mike linebacker, the tackle, turning out on the defensive end, and the linebacker vacates because of the one-back formation. That was a 38-yard touchdown in the second quarter by Winbush. Good strategy by Kansas.
Portland Johnson now at the tailback spot. Bledsoe looks for him and gets it to him. Johnson, nice move, crosses the 40 up to the 43-yard line. Kareem Carter on the stop. Let's send it to our College Football Saturday studios with Kevin Frazier and a Dr. Pepper game break.
Guys, it's been a tough day for Ricky Williams and the Texas Longhorns. Meanwhile, Baylor rolling. Elijah Burke finds the promised land. The Bears went for two and came up empty, but they lead Texas 13-8 in the fourth quarter.
Dave Roberts' team plays extremely hard every game.
And you gotta like his guts. Go for the win and send a message to everybody in Texas that Baylor's for real.
After the pickup of 9, Colorado keeps it on the ground, and they do it successfully. Portland Johnson again, finally brought down by Steve Bratton. Johnson, the redshirt freshman out of St. Louis, Missouri, another slasher in that backfield.
Well, you get another fresh back in the game. The negative about bringing a guy in off the bench, he's not used to getting the hit, and you hope he holds on to the football. But right there was an example where he looked like he was going to hold on to it. So I think it's good because you want to take the pressure off of Adam Bledsoe here by really establishing the running game.
Kansas has not beaten Colorado at home since 1981. They beat him in Boulder in 1995. First and 10, Johnson again. This time, not much running room. You know, it was so funny that Terry Allen said, I don't think we can run against Colorado. They've done it as we see the rushing offenses because Baylor or Colorado is now last in the conference. Kansas is 10.
Well, especially in this conference because there's so many quality running teams. And two of the least quality are the teams we're watching here tonight. So, but I think they've got to run the ball, especially Colorado, because they end up playing Missouri and Nebraska here at the end of the year. And they cannot win those two games away without being able to run the football. So they had to come in here and run the ball.
And Colorado will be penalized again. Too much time as the play clock runs down to 0.
Well, again, something that happens with a young quarterback. He doesn't realize it. Doesn't realize the time element. And one of his problems is in his defense, he probably hasn't worked very much this week with the first-team offense.
Instead of 2nd and 7, pushes it back to 2nd down and 12. Kennedy Pola.
Kennedy Pola played for me at USC. Fullback, linebacker, great player out of modern day. Just one of the real outstanding young coaches and a very serious guy.
High formation for the Buffaloes. Bledsoe looking over the middle. Pressure is on. Scramble. He is going to be done. Tim Bowers. Golden goalpost touchdown. Specialty teams have accounted for 5 touchdowns in 1998. Make it number 6.
And you know, 13 now in 2 years. That's just a great number. I was talking about Johnson maybe not being able to hold on to the ball because he had not had much contact. Well, the same can be applied to Bledsoe. He hasn't played that much. He doesn't get hit in practice. He's not used to getting hit, especially from behind.
Terry Allen trying to settle down his troops. Let's look at it one more time.
Watch number 54, Brad, come across the line of scrimmage to drop back pass. He's on a little bit of a delayed blitz here. He gets knocked down. He misses Bledsoe. He gets back up. He knocks the ball loose along with Hennig, number 95, and Bowers picks it up. And how ironic, the two players from the state of Colorado that are on this Kansas football team combined for forcing a fumble that might have put the game on ice for Kansas. You think they're not happy, guys?
Well, I tell you, I think Terry Allen is happy, but he knows there is still a lot of time left. How about that? 1995, they beat the Sooners. They've lost 10 straight games to ranked opponents. And they lead by 12. And I think they're going to go for 2. Bledsoe on the headsets. Talking to Carl Durrell up in the booth and Rick Neuheisel.
Well, the card tells you, the coach's card, why be ahead by 12? You might as well try to be ahead by 14, which then forces Colorado to score twice. Touchdowns are there.
Looking for Childs and Winbush. The pass is incomplete, intended for Winbush. But with 28 to play in the football game, Kansas has the lead over Colorado by 12.
Say, Mr. Bill, let's go for a ride in the Lexus GS 400.
Hey, it's nice in here.
Hey, let's let our friend Sluggo drive.
No, he's gonna be mean to me.
Don't forget to buckle up. Sluggo likes this big V8. Whoa, 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Hey, Sluggo says he could drive all day. The Lexus GS 400, a flat-out value at Cooney Lexus and Stevenson Lexus.
Checker is your one-stop brake shop with a full line of quality Raybestos brake parts to help you get the job done right. More brands, more parts. Checker, a place to start for parts.
Kansas leads 26-14, 12-26 left to play in the football game. Mike Machete in the golf cart headed to the locker room with the concussion. Zach Wegner out for Kansas with a concussion. Again, the boot kick keeping it away from Kelly if they can, but he's got it. Spinning around up to the 33-yard line, and that is where Colorado will take over first and 10. It's hardcore football on Fox Sports Net with Ronnie Lott, Bill Moss, and Ron Pitts. As they bring you Turf Talk to the toughest guys in the NFL. Hardcore X's and O's, hardcore blood, sweat, and tears. Hardcore football for the hardcore fan. This week's special guest, Oakland Raider defensive lineman Ben Davidson, Tuesday, 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Net. And as usual, check your local listings. Not mine, but yours.
Ben Davidson is one of the true characters to ever play in the National Football League, and a good guy. Oakland Raider.
Bledsoe, straight back, pass is complete. Cheverini has been quiet in the second half. Comes up with a reception.
That's what you want to do if you're Bledsoe. You want to complete a couple high percentage, short passes, and get yourself into a rhythm. Now, if I were Kansas, though, I wouldn't sit back too much. I would come after him a little bit, like they did on the touchdown play. Try to keep him out of rhythm. I know Adam talks to his brothers Drew at least once a week, the quarterback from New England. And I'm sure Drew would give him that advice. Hey, get rid of the ball and make sure you know the difference between zone and man here tonight, because Kansas is going to come after you.
First and 10 for the Buffaloes with 12:04 to play in the ball game. Big heights to the right side, and it is Johnson. In the Kansas territory, Jamie Harris makes the stop.
All it is a little pitch. Now you're going to see Johnson, instead of starting outside, he's going to turn it right up inside. It starts off looking like a perimeter play, but it turns into an off-tackle play. Good job by the fullback. Good job by number 73, Kane Cohen, pulling around on the tight end. But there was a natural seam there, but excellent vision by Johnson.
Johnson already 40 yards on 3 carries. Charrington. Stopped after a pickup of about a yard. It is ironic before the game as the Kansas team came out. Ardell Wiegand's group was warming up. They were playing Tom Petty's song, I Won't Back Down, I'm going to stand my ground. Well, right now the Kansas defense must do just that.
Well, again, Ardell's a grizzly veteran of the coaching wars. This mostly the secondary coach, and he's got about 70 years of experience of coaching between them. And they know how to get a defense ready. And tonight they have got this Kansas defense prepared to play.
Johnson in the backfield on 2nd and 8. Bledsoe passes complete, but immediately Tim Bowers makes the stop on Johnson. Bowers having a big-time game tonight. The sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, I know. And this is zone defense this time by Kansas. Now watch Bowers right here. He's going to drop here. The ball is going to be thrown underneath. But watch him react to the football and make the play in zone defense. That's called reacting to the football in zone. He saw the quarterback and he reacted to it.
3rd and 6. Bledsoe's pass is incomplete. Intended for Darren Cheverini.
Bledsoe's having a hard time here reading the zone defense. They're really not showing man, but they're playing straight zone. And Bledsoe's having a hard time throwing into it. Guys like Steve Bratt, J.J. Johnson, and Tim Bowers, the linebackers, have done a fantastic job of underneath coverage.
High snap, the kick. Does it go? Does it go? Unbelievable by Jeremy Aldridge. Nick Peets, the punter, did everything he could to get the ball down. This is incredible.
Give that man an assist. Watch Peets now. The ball is going to go up over him.
Bigger savings. What a save like never before. This is the event for you. Check out these big savings on all new 98. Your Toyota dealer will match your cash down payment up to $750. Then apply your $750 cash back from Toyota. Bring your total down payment to $2,250. And that's on all new 98 Camrys, Corollas, Avalons, RAV4s, and 4Runners. Count on great savings now. See your Greater Denver Toyota dealer. Sale ends October 24th.
We're here live at McCadden in Boulder. To ask their customers, why McCadden?
I don't know.
What would you know? Is McCadden in Boulder have a huge selection of automobiles, Cadillacs, and GMC trucks, and they always make you feel like you're visiting a good friend. So where are you going to go?
Cabin in Boulder. McCadden.
Do you like coming to visit your dad at work?
You're a TCI customer, and we appreciate that. So to make being with TCI even more rewarding, we put some nice surprises in the TCI Connection newsletter, like a 5% discount on Amtrak sleeping accommodations with Amtrak Explore America fares, and a special offer on the Scooby-Doo Video Adventure, a Halloween hassle at Draxler's Castle. It's TCI's way of letting you know we really appreciate your business. Look for the TCI Connection newsletter and nice surprises in your TCI bill.
Hey, I'm Tiger Woods. And I got Fox Sports news in my bag.
26-17 after the Jeremy Aldridge field goal, which was made possible by that man right there. Nick Peach, what a job. Now, he was a soccer goalkeeper, so he must have some pretty good hands, and he's practicing. I think it's more for the snapper than it is for him.
Yeah, I would hope so, because he just did a fantastic job of getting that ball down. We'll see here after the kickoff.
10:09 to play in a football game. A 9-point lead, and this one will sail into the end zone, and Wingbush will take a knee. This is worth a second look.
Now, this is called the fadeaway hole. He gets up after he catches the ball. It's a bad snap, but he puts it down with his left or his right hand, and then he falls down. I've never seen a guy, and I coach special teams in the NFL, I've never seen a guy do it that well, that point, and then the ball goes through.
And Jeremy Aldridge never hesitated. He just kept going.
He had faith in his whole
He must. Still plenty of time in this football game. Jay Alexander calling the signal for Kansas. The pitch to Wimbush. Stop. Field. To the 28-yard line. Marcus Washington makes the stop. Not before a pickup of about next week. Dat Win. And the Aggies of A&M will visit Stillwater, Oklahoma to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area. And Artie and I and Eric Clemens will make our way to Stillwater for that ball game, and that's going to be a good one with the defense of one of the Ryan boys of Oklahoma State.
And the defense of R.C. Slocum and Mike Hanklin, which has played sensational also this year.
Second and two. This time the Colorado defense up to the challenge. Brady McDonald with the first hit from that defensive end spot. He's probably the most active of the defensive ends, which really is the strong part of that Colorado defense.
They've got depth, and they've got talent at the defensive end position. You look at him, he's a young guy out of Quinn, South Dakota, small town, a body of 130 his senior year in high school. So he's a guy that, getting used to the big city of Boulder, because he comes from a small place in the Dakotas.
Third and three, Colorado bringing a bunch. The pass is complete. Alexander right into the hands of Michael Chandler, the junior out of Kansas City, Kansas. And Terry Allen will move the sticks again.
And can't believe he got the ball, nor can I, because he had all kinds of Colorado defenders. We're going to see him drop back. He's looking down the field. He's looking down the field. But a bunch of guys are on the field. Somebody's got his hands in his face. And he gets the ball off. And Terry can't believe it. He jumps a little bit and says, that's the way we call it. That's the way we drew that up.
It's a 1st and 10 for the Jayhawks. Wimbush right up into the big hole. Look out! Goodbye! Artie, I think it's safe to say this is an MVP performance. There is a penalty flag down at the 20, but it's an MVP performance by David Wimbush. But let's hold on and see what the flag's all about.
Yeah, he's toting the nail, as they say here tonight.
Personal foul against Colorado. 24 rushes, 240 yards for Wimbush.
Obviously, this is his greatest night. I think the fact that the offensive line has done a great job, but also Alexander has come in, has kept this Colorado defense off balance.
He has doubled what Colorado usually allows on the ground. That's a one-man wrecking crew, and he's just a sophomore.
Well, you look at Colorado, and they have edged out games. Some people called them lucky. Some people said they've won ugly. It was just a matter of time before the dam burst. But they have come in here tonight and met a very good and a physical running game from Kansas.
And in just his sophomore year, David Wimbush has cracked the century mark, 1,032 career yards. 32-17 our score. The extra point. Put another one on the board. Winbush has moved in the number 4 single game yardage in Kansas history. The Jayhawks lead.
This year, the colors of fall are brown, red, yellow, and it's your Buick dealer. Lots of green. Because right now, during Buick's Fall Collection event, we've got great deals like 0.9% APR financing on every 1998 Buick in stock, or cash back savings of up to $3,000. So come in and see our Fall Collection. But hurry, because when the 98 Buicks are gone, the Buick Fall Collection will be too.
Here's an idea. With GTE caller ID, you'll know exactly who's on the line.
Nope, not the kids.
So you can decide whether to pick up or not.
Dad, Merle, hello? Is anybody here? Hello?
College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by GTE, the official telecommunications consultant to the NCAA, and by Marriott Hotels, Resorts, and Suites. We believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. From the Bell Tower on the Kansas campus, and the Jayhawks have the lead, 33-17, thanks to David Winbush. From the 30. And again, Ben Kelly, not much running room.
Really good strategy by Kansas. Why give Kelly a chance? Corner him, you give up a little bit of field position, but I think it's a wise decision to corner him in the pooch kick each and every time. You can see Kelly's a little frustrated because he wants a chance to maybe get back in the game.
We've seen him do it the last couple of years. Colorado gives up only 16 points a game coming into tonight. They've given up 33, and they have 802 behind Adam Bledsoe to try to make up the 16-point deficit.
I think some of a lot of these young players that Rick Neuheisel has been forced to use have gotten exposed tonight.
Bledsoe forced the pass, and he is going to be done. Hanson Caston, the senior out of Houston, Texas, with his third sack of the year. The touchdown by Winbush.
Great double team right here between Glasgow and Jerome Parks. They do a great job of starting the whole going, and then Winbush just gets through the hole in a hurry, and he is quick to get there.
Bledsoe's pass is incomplete. Off the hands of Green. Terry Allen made a statement to us already yesterday as we spent some time with him. He says, you know, teams have a tendency to get better or get worse. And I think he was questioning which direction his team would go in.
He wore T-shirts all week. He gave T-shirts out to his football team for the seniors. He wanted to have something to play for tonight, and it was for the seniors. He wants to send the seniors out of this year with some positive games and some wins.
Third and 13 for Colorado. Bledsoe lost the football. Kansas had it, lost it, still loose, and Colorado is recovered. Caston knocked it out of the first place. Kansas had another golden opportunity. Tried to run with it instead of falling on it. Johnson comes up with it. But it's still fourth down for Colorado.
Caston hasn't played very much tonight, and he's a fresh pass rusher. He's had an impact on the last 3 plays. But again, Bledsoe doesn't play much, hasn't played much this year. And when he gets hit, he is prone to fumble because he's not used to game combat.
Nick Peets will kick it away to Henry Childs, and it's a low kick. They'll let it bounce. First and 10 from their own 26 after the 49-yard punt by Nick Beats. Let's check in with Eric Clemens.
All right, guys, on the Kansas sideline, it is a wild scene down here. Players all off the bench. They urge the crowd on every time their defense needs to make a stand. And guess who the first one out to congratulate the offensive line was when they came off the field after the last score? Of course, Coach Allen. He's out there shaking hands, slapping backsides and everything. They feel like they're very close. In fact, one of the offensive coaches said, look at that scoreboard. It's still 6 minutes to play. Let's go out there and keep getting it done, guys.
Well, you got to build on wins, and that's what Terry Allen wants to do. And you want to accent the positive. It's positive tonight for Kansas.
Wimbush again with positive yards. Head on Navy's on the stop. Let's check in with Kevin Frazier for a Dr. Pepper game break.
Guys, what a shootout between Texas and Baylor. Everybody's worried about the option. Watch the inside handoff. David Lagway finds the promised land. Baylor leads 20-16 late.
You know, Artie, I live in San Antonio, and you hit it on the head a few moments ago saying this makes a statement in Texas.
You're Baylor. You're doggone right. A&M, Texas with the new coach this year, Mac Brown, have gotten all the publicity. But that Dave Roberts, he's like a bulldog, and that football team plays like a bunch of bulldogs.
Second and 4. Wimbush making lemonade out of lemons. He only needed 43 yards to move into the third place, passing Gale Sayers for the best single-game rushing mark. He's closing in on it.
He's going to be a tired guy tonight. But you look at this graphic, he's rushed for 251 yards. The rest of the team, obviously the quarterbacks have lost some yards when they've attempted to run for minus 13. But you look around here, Gale Sayers, he wasn't bad. And a guy by the name of John Riggins, there's been some great running backs here at the University of Kansas. And I think Gale Sayers was the most magical running back I've ever seen in my life.
He's only 33 yards away from passing Sayers on first and 10 from the 37. That time, not much running room for Dustin Curry, and David Wimbush could smile.
Again, I made the statement before about recruiting and evaluation. We talked about Ben Kelly. Here's a guy again that wasn't highly recruited. A couple teams recruited him. He came to the University of Kansas because the assistant coach of Kansas knew his family was from the same hometown. But Kansas loved him when they watched him on video. But a lot of other schools bypassed David Wimbush.
Colorado has taken a timeout with 5:27 to play in the ball game. Well, October 31st, the F1 season wraps up here on Fox Sports Net, and all comes down to this one last head-to-head battle between Hakkinen and Schumacher as this amazing season comes to a thrilling end in Japan. The Japanese Grand Prix, October 31st on Fox Sports Net. Check your local listing. Kansas fans probably thought, oh my, when they saw Zach Wagner go down with a concussion early in the first half. But Jay Alexander, thanks to David Wimbush, have come back and haven't missed him a whole lot. Eric Clemens with our Burger King game summary. Eric?
Well, guys, what a game it's been. I tell you, both quarterbacks out with concussions. But the real story is sophomore David Wimbush, only 5'7", but I tell you what, he's had a season tonight with 251 yards and a couple long touchdowns. Look at the Kansas rushing totals, and they're not supposed to be able to do that against a lively Colorado defense, guys.
Left side of that Kansas line, jumping up and down.
Dan Dirkshire moved again. Number 79, 6'6", 285 pounds. And he's a tough guy. I think he's got great size for an offensive tackle by today's standards. He's only 6'6", 285 pounds. But he's a hard-playing player and a real tough guy. And as we mentioned before, came over from defense. This guy, Jay Alexander, is happy that guys like Dirkshire are in front of him. Believe me.
Well, his dad was a defensive tackle here at Kansas, wearing the same number as Dad. Curry and Norris now in the backfield in the I formation for the Jayhawks. Second and 13. Curry. Brandon Southwood makes the stop. Kevin Frazier with another Dr. Pepper game break.
Guys, a huge game in the ACC. Florida State and Georgia Tech. Each game was even at the half. And then the Seminoles awoke. Laverne Cole takes the pitch in. Don't blink, because he's gone. 60-yard touchdown run. Seminoles send a message with a 34-7 lead.
Hey, never count Florida State out of anything because of the speed on that football team, but also the great defense. And the other thing, Kevin and Kellen and Ron, they've been in big games before, and they know what the pressure's like when it comes to the November part of the schedule. So you never count out Bobby Bowden and that great staff and that great program at Florida State.
And it's been a tough week for Bobby Bowden. Obviously, son Terry Bowden surprising everybody by resigning at Auburn.
You know what, though? That was never a fit. He started off good, 11-0 the first year, but there was something that was always wrong there with him. Too much criticism for a guy that won too much. So, hey, maybe he knew something we don't know. I saw an interview with the dad this morning, Bobby Bowden, and he said he wasn't sure what happened.
I have a feeling Terry will end up on his feet. This Terry is extremely happy. Said he wanted to keep it positive this week after the Nebraska game. Mr. Allen, you have done just that.
Yeah, just don't watch the Nebraska videos.
Never again.
Never again.
On 3rd and 13, they keep it on the ground. It is Winbush jitterbugging his way over the 40 up to the 43-yard line. Will be about 6 yards short of the first down.
And you know, that's the psychology of coaching. There's a fine line between making corrections and being angry when you get beaten 41-0. But there's also a chance you take when you say, okay, let's forget about it, because you don't want to send the wrong message to your football team that it's okay to get beat 41-0. So there's really a fine line, but I think the veteran staff that Terry Allen has, they just did a great job of making sure the message got across, but also stay positive this whole week.
Colorado 10 on the line of scrimmage, only one back. Matt Tyler gets it away. On a full run, it is Kelly. Gets up to the 42-yard line. A punt of 31 yards, 17-yard return. Just a reminder, following the game, we have Fox Sports News. The Ohio State have a big win today. UCLA and Cal highlights. Mike Piazza, is he going back to the Mets? All the guys in Los Angeles will have that on Fox Sports News immediately following tonight's contest. We have a penalty flag thrown right about the 38-yard line. And it looks like it will go against the Jayhawks. Microphone not working. You know, Rick Neuheisel has had a lot of success on the road. Terry Allen hoping to duplicate that. Neuheisel 15-4 away from Folsom Field in his tenure as head coach.
And two of those were against the national champion. In 1996, it was Michigan. In 1997, it was at Lincoln against Nebraska. Or vice versa, excuse me. 97 was Michigan. 96 was against Nebraska up there. So they played very well on the road.
His first loss as a head coach was against the Jayhawks back in 95, a major upset. Bledsoe feeling the pressure. Hit again. Dion Rayford with the sack. Let's send it back to our College Football Saturday studios for another Dr. Pepper game break.
Guys, Baylor and Texas in a dogfight. Baylor with the lead with almost 2 minutes left. Ricky Williams finds the end zone. His 24th touchdown of the year. It's 23-20 Texas.
A good football game at Darrell Wells Stadium in Austin. Bledsoe. Dropped again. Hanson Caston with his second sack of the evening.
The defensive coordinator, Ardell Weekend, said he wanted to play more of a four-man line tonight. Two guys, Dion Rayford, and here in the second half, Hasten Caston have done a great job of just schooling the offensive tackles from the University of Colorado. Two big-time speed rushes. And this guy's 6'2", 235 pounds, a junior college transfer, that's a senior. He was a teammate at Blinn Junior College of quarterback Michael Bishop from Kansas State. But he's a fired-up guy, but he's also extremely athletic. And that time he ran right around Kane Cullum.
You can imagine that this homecoming crowd is extremely happy, and Eric Clemens has the happy Jayhawk fans with him.
Yeah, especially the kids. The promotion run out here at Memorial Stadium today. Hold up one of those bean bag babies. Jayhawk bean bag baby, not a beanie baby. So guys, Ron and Artie, do not try to make bargains with these kids after the game thinking those are beanie babies. They're not.
I want to hear you say that
It is valuable, guys, I guess. But the Jayhawk is to these little kids, 5,000 of them, receiving those gifts today upon arrival for homecoming night here at Memorial Stadium, and it's been a great one so far for them.
I don't know the difference.
One's more expensive than the other one, I guess.
And we have Gabe Leonard now in at quarterback as Bledsoe got hurt on that last play. Leonard tucks it, takes off, cuts inside of the 40 down to the 38-yard line. He needed 18. Patrick Brown and Steve Bratton track him down, and Leonard blew a tire on that. Has to put the shoe back on.
The walk-on quarterback. They've got some young freshman quarterbacks in this program. They don't want to waste their freshman redshirt year on. So Gabe is going to be the mop-up guy, so to speak, tonight. He's been in the program, and he knows the offense. He's going without one shoe.
His first pass flutters it out to the right side, and it is incomplete. Intended for Marcus Stiggers.
And look who meets the quarterback, number 41 and number 11 again. And that's some courage to play without a shoe. Great camera work here. We got the one-footed quarterback going back. He takes a look, and then he just gets sandwiched in between Rayford and Caston. Welcome to the Big 12. Okay, you still hasn't put a shoe on.
You're going to go into the game, and you're going to get nailed on your second play. Without a shoe. 2 minutes and 28 seconds left to play in the ball game, and Kansas on their way to upsetting number 17, Colorado.
This couldn't have happened at a better time for Terry Allen and this Kansas football program. Entered the game at 2-5.
Winbush again, look out! His legs may be getting just a little bit heavy, but not before he picks up about 8.
He's strong now. He can squat 510 pounds. He's only 5'7", but he's like Barry Sanders. I said this before. Because he can stop on a dime. He can go left to right as fast as anybody in college football, and then accelerate up the field. And to me, that's what makes a great running back. The ability to make the defender miss.
14 yards away from Gale Sayers, marked and Reuben in the number 3 spot for a single game performance. Winbush. Drop. It was 2nd and 1.
As good as Winbush has played tonight, and the offensive line, I think, deserves a lot of credit. To me, Jay Alexander has still been the guy that came in and energized this football team. He's the guy that came in, made a couple key passes, loosened up the defense, and got this guy turned loose a little bit. So I think it's this whole offensive group and the defense. The whole Kansas team has played well.
David Winbush may be taking a seat for the rest of the ball game. He is out. Getting kudos from his teammates. Now the executive producers of Fox Sports Net are Arthur Smith and Bill Borson. Coordinating producer for College Football Saturday is Roy Hamilton. Tonight's game produced by Mike Helling. Directed by Ken Fouts. The College Football Saturday studio show was produced by Loy Maxon. Directed by Brad Toberman. And the Vice President of Field Operations is Andrea Jenkins.
And this is a shock defensive football team at Colorado, because I don't think they expected to come in here tonight and have Kansas chunk out the yardage against them, but also score some points on them. And I know their defense scored a couple points, but still, the Kansas offense has clearly defeated the Colorado defense tonight. I think the defense is in a state of shock in Colorado.
Well, one of the keys, 12 penalties for the Bucs for 105 yards, but Kansas has hung 373 yards on them. Third down and a yard. Bodies everywhere. This is not the same Colorado defense held Kansas State to 16 points.
You know, A.J. Kristoff told me the other night, he thought next to Kansas State, Kansas's offensive line was the best line they had seen to date. He said, you know, they got two great coaches, a guy by the name of Dale White and Walt Klinger, that have done a brilliant job with this offensive line. And between them, the offensive line has started for Kansas over 100 games. So that was the foundation of why Terry Allen felt he could improve his offensive output.
Terry Allen's going to go to 56-1 when leading at halftime. He only lost the Baylor game this year. Fourth down and 2. Kansas will go for it. And they will not get it. Colorado will take over. Brandon Southward on the stop. Have a moment. I'd like to thank Doug Vance, Sports Information Director at Kansas, for all his help. And, of course, the King, Dave Platty at Colorado, for his help. And Rick Neuheisel, 22-1 versus unranked opponents. Missouri lost to Missouri last year, but he had another one this evening. Gary Alexander getting some slaps.
But you know, Colorado comes back. They have a bye. They can't get their thumber down too much. They can recuperate a little bit, get some guys healthy, and get ready to go play Missouri in 2 weeks. Because that will certainly be a challenge because it's at Columbia, Missouri.
Three of their final 4 games are on the road for the Colorado Buffaloes. Bledsoe back in at quarterback. Hit as he throws. His pass is going to be incomplete. Deion Rayford's the one who lowered the boom again on Bledsoe.
Rayford, like we talked about, is an athlete. He's just a guy that's got to be able to grow into playing here in the Big 12. You talk about big games, Ron. You know, Kansas plays Kansas State right here in Lawrence next week. So this place will be going absolutely wild next Saturday.
Well, the fans are getting ready to come onto the field. The police, believe it or not, are getting ready to surround the goalposts. I've been to Kansas a lot of times. I've seen them upset Oklahoma, but these people are excited because of Terry Allen. What a wonderful job he has done. Bledsoe with 25 seconds left is going to air it out, but he is going to be dropped again by Deion Rayford.
You know what makes Rayford a great pass rusher? He's relentless. He never stops. He gets wide open. He keeps coming. Quarterback steps up in the pocket. He keeps coming. He's relentless.
Final 3 seconds. Bledsoe airing it out deep. It is going to be incomplete. The ball game is over.
You think these Kansas people aren't smart? The police surrounded one goal, and they all ran, and they're going to knock down the other one.
Everybody is on the field. Kansas has beaten Colorado in Lawrence for the first time since 1981. One goalpost will stay out, one's not going to make it. You know, we talk about defensive heroes. Rayford was one, but boy, Tim Bauer, he had a great game tonight.
He did. The defensive line from Kansas, just like I said before, was relentless in their pass rush. And I think having Steve Bray in the game was a huge factor in and out of the huddle.
Eric Clemens is with a very happy Terry Allen.
Everything. Listen, can you say enough about the guys who really did the big job? Coach for you today. Talk about Winbush. Talk about Alexander and the great job they did.
I'm just happy for those guys and the effort they made. This is one of those with all the tough losses that we've had. This is one's for the players. It's nothing with coaches. It's for our fans and the players. It just makes you feel happy.
Listen, what does a victory like this mean for you guys? I mean, at this point right now, I know you're going to take a little time to let it sink in. But what does it mean overall?
It's a bounce back time for us. It's an opportunity. You know, we play the Sunflower game next week. We got Kansas State coming here, and we'd like to get 2 in a row against top 20 teams and then see what happens. But it's just great for the program, great for the kids, and I'm a happy guy.
I know you are. Congratulations to you. Thank you very much. All right, Kansas State coming in here next week, but now we go back upstairs. Ron Thulin, it's a madhouse down here. I'm going to get out of the way as I'm about to be hit by goalposts.
Stay safe, Eric. 268 yards rushing for David Winbush as Kansas upsets the number 17 team in the country.
Room 1203 wants to swim without floppies. Marriott, comfortable, you can do anything.
We come here on a glorious quest. Search for that which can be found nowhere.